Howdy, friends. This is Owen Thomas, and I play Twisted Fate in League of Legends. You're listening to The Gaming Outsider. Only 2 jokers in the deck, and I get dealt you.
Welcome to The Gaming Outsider. This week, CB, Jacob, and I answer some community questions, and we have some awesome conversations surrounding them. In news, Nintendo Shadow dropped a new app on mobile for subscribers of Nintendo Switch Online. CB got his hands on a MetaQuest 3, which means he got to play Batman Arkham Shadow. I played Shadows of the Damned Hella Remastered, the Ode to Castlevania DLC for Vampire Survivors, and a new Pinball M table called Camp Bloodbrook. Alyssa played a game called Two Falls, and Joel stops by to talk about Predator Hunting Grounds and KIBORG Arena. This is The Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com, our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/thegocast, and even a Discord server. There's a link for it in the show notes of this very episode. We would love it if you joined. It is Tuesday, November 5th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends. First off, Mr. Chris Behrensmeyer. What's going on, man?
Hello, I did the thing.
And Jacob Gunderson. What's going on, dude?
Hello.
Hey. No Zach this week. I believe as of right now, he is on a plane. I think he's on a plane right now on his way to Japan. I cannot wait to see how much near stuff he brings back from Japan.
All of it. Literally all of it.
He probably packed half a suitcase just so that he could fill the other half with near stuff. Alyssa's also not here. She's feeling a little under the weather, so it will be just the 3 of us, CB and Jacob. How's your week been, guys?
3 of us.
You guys having a good week?
It's been a week. I mean,
It's only Tuesday.
Things are happening.
Yes, it is election day here in the United States, and I have no idea. By the time you hear this, you could have the results.
I voted for
I
voted for things and stuffs.
Yes, we all did our part, our civic duty, as it were, and so we don't know the results as of right now, but everybody's on the edge of their seat. But we got more important things to talk about. Maybe not important, but more interesting things to talk about right now. Games. Jacob, what have you been catching up on, man? Anything you've been playing this week besides review stuff?
So after the Desert Island games, I had to jump back into one of my other games that I talked about on the show. I've been playing Stationeers. And
okay,
crying.
Yeah, I remember you talking about
that. I've been crying on that for a little bit. I just got my life support system up and running in that game, and so I had to make an O2 scrubber, a CO2 scrubber, and a nitrous scrubber, and I set them up in a logic system to output their chemicals into the air when a certain level is hit, and then I had to mix. And
now people may not have heard the Desert Island episode because that is for our Patreon subscribers only. So can you explain to them what that game is?
It is a outer space survival. You're making a station on some outside body. There's moons around Saturn, and there's the moon. There's even a planet that's off in some mysterious galaxy somewhere that has fluctuating craziness that happens in it. Yeah. And so it's situational, and then you have to use the tools they give you to bend the atmosphere to your will to survive.
Would it be safe to call that like a base building style game?
Not in the same way like base building is said
normally. But like a 7 Days to Die?
No.
Okay.
I don't even know how you would describe this.
Ark in space.
Closer.
There's no dinosaurs in space.
Vin Diesel's.
You run around and you gather resources, but when it comes to the actual like making stuff, instead of just going, oh, I'm going to spend so many resources on this thing and now I have the capability of doing this, when you go to make that thing, it is not just as simple as placing down an item. You have to literally make the item. If you want to make water, you have to have the device that actually burns the fuels to make the water. Then you have to cool down the water. Then you have to pressurize it and get it into actual liquid form. Then you have to purify it and then send it into a bottling system to actually make the water drinkable for yourself. So there are many steps, and these are all different calculations that you actually have to do. The game tells you how to do all this stuff, but then you have to look at the notes in game and put it actually into work in the game and find the resources to build the parts to make the things.
That sounds like so much work. Why wouldn't you just go do it for real? Like get a like, I don't know. It just sounds like
I can't build a base on the moon in real life. Thank you.
Can
I know that.
Can you build water, Scott?
Can I build? No, but I'm just saying, like the things that you're doing in that game, I feel like you could do something. That kind of work could be put to, I don't know. If it's fun for you, it's fun. It just sounds like chores the video game to me.
Like lawn mowing simulator?
It's not even chores.
I guess I can't talk.
It's not even chores the video game. If you don't do, like in most chores the video games, if you don't do anything or get to a certain spot, you could live. If I don't upkeep the systems, you die. In my last playthrough of the game, I was working on my systems, trying to upgrade them. And as I was upgrading the systems, I forgot to maintain another system and got trapped inside my base because I did not have oxygen to leave.
Okay. Well, as long as you're enjoying it, man, I'm happy for you. That's awesome. CB, what about you? What have you been catching up on?
Well, we had our get together. We played some Boomerang Foo.
Yeah, we had I had a sleepaway camp watch party. I forced man, there had to have been like a dozen people there that had never seen it before.
There was at least 10. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good time. Made people watch that, but then we hooked up the old Switch to the projector and played some Boomerang Foo. The interesting thing about that was like trying to get people to play it, explain to them what it was. Everybody's like, okay, we're going to play this game. It took like a round or two before people finally were like, okay, this game is amazing.
Yep.
CB, like I've explained it before. Why don't you explain it to the people who may not have listened to the past episodes?
It's very simplified hide and seek. Well, at least that's the bonus game. But yeah, otherwise it's like a little battle royale that uses boomerangs. But essentially, you can get it's 8 people, right?
No, only 6.
Only 6. Okay, so 6 people. You can sit here and everybody's got their Joy-Cons, and one person has to cover their eyes, and everybody else goes and hides, and it's essentially prop hunt. And then they go around and hit them and be like, okay, found you. But everybody is food.
So like, all right, who's ice cream? Who's watermelon? Yeah, it's seriously, guys. If you got 5 friends, you can only play locally, so that's like kind of the downside. But if you can get a group of friends and it's like $15. Every time I play that game, I laugh so hard. It's just ridiculous, and just people that just do some of the silliest things.
Like me.
CB.
Fun.
I just love
his antics.
Every time we play that game, everybody's like, okay, you got a few rounds in? All right, here comes CB, and just does his usual trolling, and then the game gets better.
I love how like you think yeah, okay.
I admit it.
You're right. You're right.
I'm just saying, like, once everybody was playing, and I started doing a lot more people were laughing way harder.
Everything
yeah,
that touches
you were also
gold.
you were also pissing off some people too, which was
one in particular.
which was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm sorry, friend, that I'm a jerk. Spencer thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, Spencer had a good time. You both have seen Sleepaway Camp in the past, so that was not a surprise to either of you. But man, that movie is just so awful. It's fun to watch. Fun to force people to watch it.
Eat poo and live, Scott.
How many times did we say that line?
Oh yeah.
What else you been playing, man?
So I got back into playing some Star Wars Pinball on my VR.
Yeah, you did.
Yep, played quite a bit.
Now I played a little Star Wars Pinball when I had I still have a MetaQuest, but mine is so old. I think it was still called an Oculus Quest. That's how old mine is. But do you play pinball standing, or do you just play?
Oh, I sit down.
Yeah. Man,
yeah.
I like to stand.
I like to sit down, but also I can lay down now and play facing the ceiling.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's different. But yeah, I unlocked a bunch of other like little trophies to put in my Star Wars room.
Mm-hmm.
There was one. I was like last ball on the one where you can collect the different like the goal of the table is to collect the old Star Wars action figures.
Yeah.
And like I just had a really good run, and it's like on the last ball, it was like, oh look, I got like 25 million on one ball.
Does that feel good? Just see that massive number pop
Yeah,
up.
it's like, oh look, you just happen to hit like the right ramp combination, and just boom, all the points.
Yeah,
So
it's a good feeling.
that was a lot of fun. And then I've been tinkering around with my MetaQuest 3 more. Dude, that thing is so good. Like just the
Yeah, you brought it over to the house on Saturday, and I had it on for all of 7 minutes
Yeah.
before I had to playing a game. I had no idea what I was doing, but the first thing that stood out to me with the MetaQuest 3 is the pass through is in full color.
Yeah.
Whereas it was
And
in
it's
black and white with the 2.
fairly crisp. You
Well,
you had it on low light, so you didn't really get to experience
Yeah.
it. But I mean, the fact that like I can pick up my phone and read my text messages without taking the helmet off is pretty cool.
I didn't try that, but it's a weird thing to say that's in a pro column that I can read my text messages while I'm in a VR helmet. But yeah, I get your point.
But yeah, and then playing some of like the little mini games that come with it, to like kind of feel out the pass through and everything.
Mhm.
It's so good.
Did you play any of the older games like like Beat Saber and stuff like that?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
ones that, like, do they look a lot better on the
Crisp,
3?
super crisp.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them that like I can't, like for some reason I can't find Audio Shield.
Really? Is that game discontinued?
I don't know.
That's
So
odd.
I wonder if I just need to go in and like do like some update or something. But yeah, it because I got the one with the 512 gigabyte drive in it. It's been like downloading like everything.
You got to have everything on there at once, huh?
Oh, and the from like when I had the Oculus Quest 2, the VR channels on YouTube have gotten so much better.
You actually watch YouTube in the VR headset?
Oh yeah, and it's pretty good.
That just seems so uncomfortable.
Well, no, like they have things where like people like walk around like national monuments recording it. So you like it's like, oh look, I'm at Niagara Falls and I can look around.
Okay.
But
I'm at
the
Scott's
NBA,
mom's house, and I can look around.
well, I could just go there regardless.
Oh my god.
But the NBA has a thing where you can actually watch NBA games courtside.
I've heard that, actually. I'm not a big NBA guy, but I kind of want to just see what that looks like.
I want to too, but I hope they start doing it for the NFL. Because being able to watch an NFL game, like standing, like literally field, like at the edge of the field would be awesome.
Yeah.
There's 3 million people all sitting in the same spot.
Yeah. Just stacked on top of one another. But yeah, they've made a lot of quality of life improvements. The controllers feel a lot better. Also, the hand tracking, just putting the controllers down, was so much better than it was on the 2.
Much more user-friendly.
User-friendly, and it's a much faster response. Like, you can actually tell just doing things that, like, everything runs a lot more crisp and clean.
Awesome, man.
So
Glad you're enjoying that.
you were talking about the sports games and sitting ringside and whatever. The one that I want is the cameras that slide over the NFL games. I want VR of that. I want to be like flying over like like a bird.
That or like UFC fights.
That would be good.
That would be a really interesting experience.
Do they do flyover cameras like that in UFC fights?
No, just sitting like literally ringside for a
Oh,
UFC
okay.
fight.
How about for the Tyson Jake Paul fight coming up?
Ugh. I really hope that fight goes one way so heavy-handed that I never have to hear a certain name again.
I mean, I would
We like
really
Mike
like to
Tyson.
know.
I want Mike Tyson to win. by a lot.
I really want to know who's rooting for Jake Paul. That's
Himself.
over the age of 30.
We share a
Himself and
name.
anybody that buys Prime energy drinks.
Is that what it is? It's just all endorsement.
There's going to be so much stupid endorsement during that fight.
I believe it. As for me, I'm still playing Balatro. I have, as much as I have played on this game, I'm still under 30% completion. There is a stupid amount of content to do. I realize I'm never gonna do everything in this game, because you know how like there's like 150 jokers in the game.
Oh yeah.
One of the things you have to do to complete this game is to win a game with each joker. You get a little sticker on a joker if you win with that. So not only do you have to like win all these different modes and everything like that, but you have to have won a game of Balatro with every joker.
Oh, son, you barely scratched the surface. Because not only do you need the stickers, you need to silver them, gold them, diamond them, reflect them.
Dude, it's just so much content. There's just no way I'm ever going to do it.
And the negative versions of them too.
Oh my god. Because then you got to be lucky and get there's just no way.
There's ways to cheese it.
That sounds like the trading card simulator game.
Hey man, don't you knock on it. I love that game.
So Scott brought it up the other day and said that you were playing it with, and I was like, I gotta check this out. And so I've put like 80 hours into it already. I've had it for like 2 weeks.
Dude, it's addictive, isn't it?
Card pack.
Oh, just being a degenerate, just be like, I'm gonna order this entire case of cards. Rip.
Right.
Oh crap! I have nothing to sell in my shop.
Right. Damn it.
My shop has almost got to the point that it just runs on autopilot now. Like I'm just like, oh look, I've made a profit like every day for like 2 weeks straight in the game.
Yep. It's nice. Anywho.
Again, something else, you could just make a living doing for real. Like, I don't know.
Okay, you go open up 1 million card packs in a day.
No, I'm not. I mean,
yeah,
I mean, paid for it,
if I could walk around my own card shop spraying stinky customers with deodorant, I would gladly do so.
Get clean.
Wash thyself, son.
Right.
All right, well, that's what we've been catching up on. Let's go ahead now and jump into the week's news. Couple new trailers to talk about. First off, Shadow Man and Turok 2 Seeds of Evil are officially on Nintendo Switch Online, both of those N64 games. A game on MetaQuest, speaking of MetaQuest, called Songbird. This is made by, if I'm not mistaken, is this Guitar Hero people, or is... I believe it's Guitar Hero people. And also we got a trailer for Death Note Killer Within, coming to PS4 and PS5, which is basically Among Us with Death Note. Death Note skin on it. Also, Nintendo's music app just shadow launched on Nintendo Switch Online this week. PlayStation's CEO wants the PS5 life cycle to be 10 years. True story. Someone got Doom running on an Alarmo. Nintendo Alarmo. And the game director of Wolverine joins the Perfect Dark team over at Xbox. So, Jacob, what story would you like to talk about?
I don't give a crap about any of those. Let's do PlayStation, because I'm a PlayStation fanboy.
Okay. So, PlayStation's CEO wants the PS5 life cycle to be 10 years.
Perfect.
This comes shortly after the announcement of the PS5 Pro, which we all know is coming. Are either of you planning on getting the PS5 Pro?
No.
No?
No.
Me either.
Not until they can start cranking out games that are only on the PS5.
I mean, they did a lot more than Xbox did so far. Well, not a lot more, but
yeah,
they did more. They did more. In an interview with Variety Magazine, Hideaki Nishani said he was happy to see that the, quote, most engaged gaming users are interested in the PS5 Pro, and shared his belief that, quote, new users will grab the PS5 Pro as well. We design everything with having one ahead in our mind. It's not like we just make a next step and we don't know about the 2 steps ahead. That's not our way of working, because we need to make sure that the 10-year-old generation cycle continues to be going as well. Yes, 10-year. What consoles are lasting 10 years?
The Wii.
The Wii. That's it. Has there been another console that's lasted 10 years that wasn't?
PS3.
I mean, if you want to include like the Just Dance releases,
Well, I mean, people are still. Yeah, there's.
that's the problem. Is like,
It'll
oh
be
look, we
okay.
just released Just Dance 25 on the PS2.
Yeah, so they're still developing games for that platform, but it just seems very, very bizarre to me. He goes on to say, I just wanted to say that the Pro is not a next gen. It is still in the PS5 generation. PS5 Pro will do everything what PS5 does, so it's a consumer choice. If they see a need for more visuality, they'll get it. So we wanted to provide an option for the consumer within the generation. That's what we're doing. Unquote. So basically, he's just saying the PS5 Pro is still in the same generation, which I don't think anybody was thinking otherwise. It wasn't. Did any of us go see the PS5 Pro announce and go, "Oh, we're in the next gen"?
Again, this is CEOs that are so far removed from what actually occurs that they're like, oh, well, the PS5 to the PS5 Pro is a new generation. No, it's not. Just like the PS3 to the PS3 Slim to the PS3 Ultra Slim. Those were all in the same generation. But,
Right. It just seems like an unnecessary thing to announce. The thing that stands out to me is that he wants the generation to be 10 years old, because if that happens, that means we won't get a PS6 until like 2028 or 2030, which, to be honest with you, I don't need a PS6. I don't need an Xbox Series Y. I am perfectly happy with the hardware.
PS5 Pro.
Right. I don't. But I mean, there are PlayStation fans that do want that. I'm not faulting them for that or.
Well, first off, for what? Because I'm surprised you didn't include the other news about the PS5 Pro that happened this week.
Maybe I missed it. What is that?
The fact that they took off the 8K resolution.
Really?
Yeah. They've dropped all 8K support from the PS5 Pro already.
I mean, how many people have an 8K television?
True, but that's one of the things that they were like. And I honestly, I'm waiting for Microsoft to do the same, because like that's their, oh yeah, we're gonna hit 8K resolution. Like both companies have said that for their consoles, and they both just were like, never mind.
It's an interesting thing. I don't know who. I mean, it's the same thing though. Like you have a newest, latest, best thing, people are gonna buy it, right? I'm guilty of that. I bought a 4K TV when nothing was in 4K at that time. I had there were certain 4K movies which, sure, they looked slightly better, but it wasn't worth the price I paid for my TV, and my games weren't all in 4K at the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
and I mean, both companies are both guilty of it right now, because they're both like, oh yeah, our sales are great. And I'm like, cool, because for like the first 2 years, the only people that had your console was scalpers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a terrible time.
I'm waiting for the PS5 Pro to go through the same thing. Like, oh look, all the scalpers have.
I mean, it's already happening, right?
I know, but like they're like right here where he says the most engaged gaming users are interested in the PS5 Pro. Yeah, we're interested in it, but whether we can actually get our hands on it is another thing.
Right. Who do you want? Who do you want to make the money in this? You or scalpers? But. And like they try to barrage that with like the Sony, what's the online Sony store that they had, the PlayStation Direct, or I can't remember what it's called.
The thing to prevent scalpers from buying, but they just make a ton of different accounts and still buy them anyways.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. But
yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. CB, what?
No,
I'm sorry. You got more to say, Jacob?
Jacob had things to say.
No, but I really hope that these companies are kind of understanding the idea of like the diminishing returns, because in 10 years we're not going to need photorealistic things in video games to play a game. We already have really good graphics, and actually it's coming up later. There's a problem with the games that are coming out now that's having these problems with graphics in these systems. And so like we've hit a certain spot. They're really good. We need to stop trying to better the graphics and start trying to better the games themselves. Go back to basically basics and make a game worth playing rather than worth watching.
Yeah.
That's a really well said statement.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Does that come down to the developer though, or does that come down to the manufacturer of the console?
I'm gonna stomp on that right now because you can't say developer because both of the companies have bought all the developers.
This is true, but it is partially the developer's fault because they do have a director of whatever, and so they are inclining their people, especially the character model designers and all that stuff, to make them more elaborate and then require more graphics. There's more things to load. There's more this. There's more that. That's why you have these games coming out that are 100,000 gigabytes, and there's really nothing. There's no gameplay to show for it. It's just what the game looks like. It's just really pretty. So there's no gameplay behind what you're actually doing.
Can I just go on record and say I want the mid-generation upgrades to stop?
Like what? I mean, like
don't give me a Slim.
Dawn?
No, don't give me a Slim. Don't give me a Pro.
Oh! You
Tell
mean
you what,
like the actual consoles themselves?
Here's the thing. Instead of dumping all that money into developing a PS5 Pro, they could have just made interchangeable blades to put on the side of it and taken, I don't know, however many millions of dollars that they spent developing the Pro and saved a studio like Firewalk.
The problem is that these will sell. Like that's like if you're a company looking for bottom line, easy way to make money is put out new hardware.
But here's the problem. Every single one of the companies has openly said they lose money on the hardware. They don't make money on the hardware. They make money on the software, which is why they've been buying up all these different developers. Stop pissing money away on mediocre upgrades and just focus, like Jake said, on making quality game.
At the same point, if you go back to the scalpers, though, if they're going to bring out 100,000 units of the PS5 Pro, and you have scalpers going around and buying 100,000 of them, they have 100,000 sales, but not 100,000 people are playing on the Pro, and so their sales look really good. They think that's what people want, and so they keep making it. They keep doing these things, but it's not what people want.
I still laugh because you can still go on Facebook and find scalpers that are still sitting on the regular PS5 and the Xbox Series X.
Which is crazy to me because they're not hard to come by.
But here's the thing. They overpaid so far for some of those that they have to sell them for like $50 over. Otherwise, they're just taking such a massive loss.
Good. Die.
Yeah.
I mean,
But the problem is now that they're shipping those units like overseas to like Japan, where they raised the price by $100, and now they're making their money back.
Yeah, and they'll just keep doing that as long as they're looking at sales. And yeah, they don't make any money. The PS3 is the system that really told these companies that it's okay to lose money on the console itself and then turn around and make more money on the studios and the games that you sell. But there hasn't been the influx of games going to the new consoles that they have in the previous, and so now they're looking to get more profit back on the consoles, and it's not happening.
Yes.
They're gonna change a couple of things. They're gonna make a new design. They're gonna spend another 100,000 on remaking the console, and they're gonna try to sell it again.
Actually, here's a good reason. I'm not going to buy a PS5 Pro because I don't want to spend an extra $80 for a hard drive attachment. Because they give me options.
Yeah, no, that's it's why I've been making the move to a computer versus sticking with the consoles. I love PlayStation. I grew up on PlayStation, but the choices that they are making with the console and how they are progressing just has upset me to the point where I would rather play on a PC where I have even more options. I can change my memory, I can change my RAM, I can change this, and with a console I'm stuck.
I actually agree with you because now I have a gaming laptop. I've spent more time on my laptop and my Quest than my Xbox this year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because again, there's granted there's a multitude of games to play, but I can play them on my PC and my Quest. and not have to be tied down.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, the Quest 3, I can play the Xbox Cloud streaming on there too.
Oh, can you?
Yep, so I can play my
That's
Xbox
handy.
on my Quest 3.
That's pretty snazzy.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's
he's
move
laying in
on.
bed.
CB, what story do you want to talk about?
Sorry, I forgot we had a job to do.
Yeah, I guess games and stuff. True story. Bro, somebody got Doom playing on an Alarmo. Come
Such
on.
a silly story to
I
me.
don't care if it's silly or not. That's awesome. Power to the people that like to like sideload and hack things. So yeah, the programmer Gary Odernix.
I just want to hear you say that name over and over again.
Gary Odernix.
Do it again. 5
He got
times
it running
fast.
where you use the dial on the top to move, side buttons to fire, and select menu options. Programmer put instructions online to show people how to do it themselves. I know it's a weird story, but I love the fact that, like, can it run Doom? Like, the fact that the meme is still alive. Like, can it run Doom or can it run Crysis?
Right.
Like,
Weren't there people that like didn't they get Doom running on like on a refrigerator
they've got
screen?
Doom to run on a potato.
They've got Doom to run on a pregnancy test.
Did they really?
No,
Yeah.
it's a meme, but I see. This is the ingenuity in the gaming world that I love, because you have people that. Well, but here's the thing though, like people that are trying to get things to do things that they shouldn't. But I guarantee you, like Nintendo's gonna like poo all over this dude. Be like, how dare you? How dare you mess with our proprietary software? We're going to sue you for $20 million just because.
There's no way.
Really?
It's Nintendo.
Nintendo, the people that like, we're going to shut down emulators, but then use emulators in our own museum. Nintendo, the people that are like, hey, your game looks like our game. We're going to sue you.
They're sue happy, but I mean, there's no infringement here. This is taking a piece of hardware and doing
I guarantee
something
you,
with
if you
it's
go
not-
through the end license user agreement, there's somewhere in there that says that you cannot sideload anything onto this.
I would like to see that. You can find it. Please bring it to my attention.
Oh, like when I
Your
brought
own-
to your attention the fact that you don't own your console or the software that you do because it's in the end license user agreement.
I was just gonna say you only lease the clock.
Yeah, exactly.
If you
Yeah,
don't
so
keep up your
if-
if you don't keep
so-
up your payments, the alarm doesn't go off.
I'm sorry I was late for work.
I forgot to pay my Nintendo subscription fee.
Nintendo blocked me.
But
Ah,
I do love the ingenuity behind it. Like somebody's like, I wonder if this can do this, and makes it happen. To
I
like,
mean, it's not anything that you're gonna want to actually do.
I mean, if I had an Alarmo, sure, why not?
Well, he did post the directions on how to do it, so you can actually go do it if you want to.
See that's what's going to get him in trouble. Is
Like how to hack
how to
an
hack a
Alarmo?
Nintendo Alarmo.
That might be the issue.
Yeah, like that's where he's gonna get. They're gonna be like, no.
Yeah.
So you know what, Gary? Good on you.
It's not like he can make any money off of it.
But he can take donations.
That's true.
He could take donations, but I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna speak of Nintendo a little more positively because they launched this music app. Actually, Jacob, I was hanging out with you when I got this news. If you remember, I downloaded the app while
Yep.
we were at just because I was like fascinated by this.
Nerd.
So yeah, this is an app that you have. CB, you should have access to this because you're on my family plan. Did you download this app?
No, I didn't.
I'm really curious because we have 8 people on our family plan, so I want to know if that means all 8 of us have access to this app or not. I do, but I'm also like the primary, facilitator
He
of our
wears the
family
pants in
account.
the family.
Yeah, whatever. So this thing does not require the expansion pack membership. You can even get it running if you have the free trial version of Nintendo Switch Online. It'll give you access to the application. So this thing is just full of Nintendo music, like the actual game music from games. It's got curated lists of themes music made by Nintendo. It allows you to even make hour-long versions of songs. So instead of just hitting repeat or whatever. And you may ask yourself, why would I want to do that? I will tell you why. Because one of the songs on the app that I discovered is the Nintendo Wii shop music. You know that iconic music from the Wii? You can just make an hour-long version of that over and over and over again. I really wish that this were a browser-based application as well, because I would just have that playing in the background of my classes.
I can tell you right now, you can just go on YouTube. They have a 14-hour
I
loop.
know, but it just, yeah. They wouldn't have a clue what it is, but...
You get like a 10-hour-long video of the Wii music, and somewhere, like, every 5 minutes they're going to have an ad.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have YouTube Premium, you don't have the problem.
I don't have YouTube Premium. I could just do it with my, my phone where I have the thing I already am paying for, but that's besides the point. You can also put in spoiler tags on certain games in case you're worried that certain songs or their titles might spoil story elements for you, which is an odd thing to do. But I don't know if either of you looked at the list, but the soundtrack is pretty limited so far. They're adding stuff daily, but this is nowhere near the Spotify of video game music. I was honestly a little disappointed by how little there was there. Nintendo has a vast library. You'd think they could just dump so much on here, but who knows? Maybe it'll get better as we go.
You would think.
They haven't figured out which emulator to run it through yet.
Why are you like on this?
It's Nintendo.
If it's their stuff, they can emulate it all they want, man.
If Sega had done this, it would have been on there yesterday.
Wow. All right. Well, let's move on. Patreon. If you'd like to help support the show, we would really appreciate it. You can do so at patreon.com/thegocast. We offer you some bonus episodes. CB, what's available right now?
Ooh, Desert Island Games with this beautiful human, Mr. Jacob Gunderson.
Hello. I was saved, by the way. Someone came and got me.
Oh, someone came and got you?
Yeah.
Oh,
it wasn't.
Oh, you didn't get abandoned at Scott's house?
No. On the Desert Island Games. God, you guys are slow.
Oh. Well, I mean, after Saturday, I thought you were going to get abandoned there.
Oh, yeah. My wife was.
Yeah. Also, speaking of wives, Married to the Mic with Stephanie Clark. Listen to her rant and rave about how much she likes to annoy Scott Clark.
Vice versa, actually. It's the opposite.
It's the passive aggressive episode.
Yes. We do have some upcoming stuff as well. I still owe our $5 tier subscribers a second episode for the month of October, so we will get on that. I know that Zach said once he gets back from Japan, he's going to do a Married to the Mic with his wife, so we will have that for November as well, and I'm sure they'll have lots to talk about with their trip to Japan, so stay tuned for that. Again, your support does mean a lot to us. It is why we are able to do this show for 524 episodes now, because all the podcast hosting and the website fees and all that kind of stuff is paid by Patreon subscribers. We don't take a dime of that for ourselves. It really does help us out, so we really do appreciate it. Again, patreon.com/thegocast. With that, let's go ahead and jump into the new games that we've been playing. Got quite a list of new releases this week. I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of detail because the list is long, but starting over with a game called Slitterhead, coming to Xbox, PlayStation, and PC November 8th. Game on PC called Everholm, November 11th. Rogue Rollout on PC, November 11th. The Adventurers on PC, November 11th. Farming Simulator 25, coming to Xbox Series S and X, PlayStation 5, and PC, November 12th. The Rise of the Golden Idol, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC, iOS, Android, November 12th. Tetris Forever, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC, November 12th. Songs of Conquest, Xbox Series S and X, PS5, on November 12th. Sea Power, Naval Combat in the Missile Age on PC. I'm not going to lie, CB, I thought of you when I saw that trailer. Comes out on November 12th. In Sync comes to PC, November 12th. Neo Harbor Rescue Squad coming to PlayStation and PC, November 12th. I know that Mark is going to be reviewing that one for us. Ricochet Rodeo on PC, November 12th. Temtem Swarm on PC, November 13th. Song of Silence, Xbox Series S and X, PS5, PC, November 13th. Paper Perjury on PC, November 13th. Game called Ved, VED, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC, and Mac, November 13th. Sorry, we're closed. A PC game coming on November 14th. Nairi, Rising Tide, coming to Switch and PC November 14th. Thomas Bex from our team is going to be reviewing that one for us. Rage of the Dragons Neo, coming to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC November 14th. Hearts of Iron 4. Boy. Gotterdammerung? Gotterdammerung? Is it German? I don't know.
It's very much so German. Should I go get my kid to read it?
No. Coming on PC November 14th. Mind Shop, PS5, Switch, and PC November 14th. And Heretics Fork, coming to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, November 14th. CB, what stands out in that list that you want to play?
Well, first off, I watched this trailer for Slitterhead and I was so confused. I don't know what the game is.
So if you clicked on the link that Scott provided, that is the director of it going through his life journey of how he came up with the game and whatever. I actually had to go to Steam to find the actual trailer of it, and it's like Nano Breaker. If you remember Nano Breaker.
I apologize. That's the one I found on the website.
I was like, I watched
from.
this trailer and I'm like, I'm so confused and so lost. It's a man walking around Kowloon City taking pictures,
right?
And I'm just like, I'm like, what is this game?
I started skipping ahead, like, where's the game?
I was just like bouncing around. I'm like, did I miss something?
My apologies. I must have clicked the wrong one.
Yeah,
you're all good.
It's fine because then I actually went to their actual YouTube page and it was like that was the first thing that came up for Slitterhead too. I mean, Tetris Forever, man.
Yeah, that's what's on my list too.
But I may also get Farming Simulator 25.
Oh, I'm
really?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, me and Jacob, like we keep talking about how I delayed buying a Farming Simulator game because Jacob and I want to do a co-op playthrough of one of these.
Mm-hmm.
And be like, let's grow some crops, bro.
I want to pet sheep.
But, dude, baby cows. Baby cows.
Baby cows.
Baby cows.
Is that a new thing in Farming Simulator 25?
No, they just got baby cows.
They do just have baby cows. But
yeah,
I
think that might be a thing that may be coming in the future.
All right. Jacob, how about you?
The Tetris game, that the trailer of that looks awesome. I don't think there's been any other game of the sorts that goes back in time like that while you're playing it and to mess with your opponents or any of the sorts. So I look forward to playing Tetris. I haven't played Tetris in a while. But yeah, there's the Farm Simulator game. I don't think I saw another one. Oh, Ricochet Rodeo actually looks like.
Really?
Yes, it looks like Nidhogg. If you know what Nidhogg is.
I know what Nidhogg is. I got more of like a I don't know, pixelated Smash Brothers feel from that game instead of.
I feel like it was their stances with the guns, but I feel like there's because the bullets look like they can ricochet off each other, so you're trying to do something to mess with your opponent to actually hit them versus just shoot them straight on. So it looks like it might be a fun little, but it's a party game, so that can be fun.
Fair enough. Well, it should come no surprise that Tetris Forever is my pick. Like you said, just like I've never played that like original Tetris. Until the movie came out, I didn't realize that Tetris looked like that, and I'm just kind of fascinated. And there's modes where like it just randomly cycles through the different ones as you like get to a new level. And I think the last Tetris game I played was Tetris. What was the one that was in VR? Tetris Effect.
Yeah.
Man, that game was great. And playing that game I had Sony, the gold headphones at that point. That game just sounds amazing with those headphones, and it made it worth the price of admission for sure. So, yeah, really looking forward to that one.
Before we move on, In Sync actually looked like a pretty good puzzle game because you have. I'm sorry, what?
You're tearing up my heart.
I'm sorry, but
I like.
I was gonna say I like 2-player games because of me and my wife. We do things together. Sorry.
I'm not faulting that, dude.
I just got booed.
No. The boo is at Scott Clark.
Oh, okay.
Oh, dude.
That works.
Bye.
You take your highlighted ramen noodle hair and go away.
I'm sorry. Now I'm the slow one. I caught on.
Oh, you finally caught up.
Damn.
He
Not
finally got the joke.
Oh.
All right, CB, I am stoked to hear about Batman Arkham Shadow. I have been hearing nothing but positive things about this game. This is what it came packed with your MetaQuest 3, right?
Yes, it did.
And what was the Batman game that was on PSVR that we played? It was like very minimal.
Batman
had some
VR.
Is it just Batman VR? Is that what it was called?
I think so. I own a copy of it. I just don't have it in front of me, so I couldn't tell you what the name of it is.
But this game looks to be replicating the Arkham Batman games, but in VR. Is it as cool as it sounds?
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Okay. Tell me more.
So, yeah, it's, by the way, Roger Craig Smith, voice X for it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, Batman Arkham Shadow. It's the Arkham games in VR. But it's a new storyline. You are actually Batman, like from Arkham, not like Gotham Knights. So,
If you're alive.
yeah, not dead. You are chasing, I believe it's the Rat King. Yeah, it's the Rat King. So another one of Batman's rogues gallery people. Dude, it's as soon as you load up, it looks gorgeous. It's got the same feel, like you're dropped right in, and you have to like learn to do like the things because VR is very complex. Batman can do a lot of things, but it's got like throwing the batarang. You can hang from like the gargoyle statues and like drop down and grab people and take them up and knock them out.
How disorienting is that? Though?
It's
Because,
a little
he hangs-
disorienting the first time because the problem is you don't hang upside down. Like you're up on the gargoyle statue and you can look down and you hold a button and you just see these two hands appear on the guy's shoulders. And all of a sudden it goes black and like all of a sudden you're on the ground, you grab him, it goes up and you just like drop him.
Okay.
So there's that. So you're not actually upside down, like waiting for them. But, like in the rooms with the gargoyle statues, you remember how like, oh, if they see you got to like bounce from statue to statue
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
Use a grappling gun and you swing from statue to statue, first person, which can be a
Sounds
little
awesome.
disorienting because it's pretty, you move pretty quick. But I've got like the smoke, like so far I've unlocked the batarang, the smoke bombs, which the smoke bombs are awesome because you can go into the detective vision and everything. And
Right.
in the game, like when Batman does the whole like detective vision, he like puts his like fingers to his temple and it goes into that. You have to replicate that motion and all of a sudden you've got X-ray vision everywhere.
That I played this for, like I said, 7 minutes, and that moment, that and the Batarang thing, just are two small instances where I know this is a cliche thing to say, but I felt like Batman, dude. I really did.
Dude, the amount of detail that they put into this from the Arkham games, like, oh look, there's a grate. I can see that, like I can go in that grate. You go up, put both hands on the grate, pull it back, and slide it to the side, just like in the game.
Mhm.
Or like, oh, there's that grate on the floor. I can lift that up and drop down into the grate and go onto the floor.
So the thing that I want to know about is the combat, because the little bit that I got to play, I did not get into any combat, and I was kind of glad I didn't because I probably would have been completely lost. But the Arkham combat is much more than just fisticuffs. It is also lots of jumping, over guys upside down. Are you doing that in this? And what does that feel like in VR?
Very frenetic.
Yeah.
But it feels so fluid because, all right, so the most I've taken on at once is 5 guys. Pervert. So you can
The
go into a
rest-
room.
The fast food place.
Yes, burgers. Burgers. So you walk into the room and they actually, like, you can watch them. They'll try to surround you just like they do in the game. So you got to keep moving, but like you can kick, like you can punch them. So it's straight up like left hand, right hand punch. But depending on how you throw the punch, like you can throw a hook, you can throw a straight, or you can hold forward and do like that Superman punch that he does. So like jump forward and like hit one of them, and you just got to keep moving around. But as you hit, like as you engage one guy, like you hit one of the guys, and all of a sudden like yellow circles appear on it. And so you punch, and it's like left or right, or it'll give you like a yellow arrow to simulate like a hook, or there'll be like a yellow circle with numbers. It's like, okay, hit this guy 5 times, he's gonna go down. But like once you hit him enough, all of a sudden, like you'll see 2 yellow fists on either side of him. That's like your finisher combo. So you take both your hands and slam down on him, and you either like kick him straight up in the face or like launch him into the air, and you jump up and you swing your fist down again and smash him into the ground.
So this sounds like way different from, most games where you're punching. You're just kind of just doing it as fast as you can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's not what you're doing here. You're actually like making
calculated
choices. Yeah.
Like calculated fights, because at the same time, the other guys that are trying to surround you will attack as well. So you can't just focus on one guy, but you'll see like, it'll give you like a blue flashing warning in your like peripheral vision. And what you're supposed to do is throw your arm up in that direction to like counter them with the cape, and which you can stun them with the cape. So basically, so far, like all the moves that you see Batman do in the Arkham games, like you can simulate those as well. Or you can drop like a smoke grenade if they surround you, turn on the detective vision, and you can see them in the X-ray mode and fight them that way.
So do you do the same things, or like in the Arkham games where, oh, I can't attack these enemies from the front, I have to flip behind them, like they've got shields?
I haven't run some of them, like, so I've run into the standard like fisticuff guys with knives, which you have to use the cape a little bit more to kind of disorient them. And then also guys with guns. And so like the guys with the guns, like it says like rely on the batarang and the smoke bombs more for those. So like you have to start playing that out, and it like kind of the first one you run into, it's like 3 guys that just regular punch and then 1 guy with a gun. And it basically like it recommends like stun these guys or like put distance between them and go for the guy with the gun first.
Okay.
So like the first time you fight like the new enemies, it kind of gives you tips and tricks on how to do that. But then like the very next fight, it's like, oh, there's 3 guys with guns. Figure it out. So it throws you into the deep end real quick with some of them. But then like I've ran into Harvey Dent so far, but this is like at this point in time in this series, like it's Harvey Dent like before he becomes Two-Face.
Right. Okay.
So, and then like I've already talked with Barbara Gordon, who becomes Oracle later. So like, but it's so weird because as you're like walking through these areas of the game, like you see like different things that like reference things later on. There's a payphone that you can pick up and just start dialing numbers that you see like
what?
Like you can
For what purpose?
Because each of like there's 3 posters that you can see when you first pick this up, and it like each one of the numbers has like a little pre-recorded speech that comes with it. Like one of them is like the Harvey Dent campaign. You can call the Gotham City Police Department. But I've seen a couple other numbers away from it that I wrote down, and my guess is those are things like Riddler trophies.
Oh, okay.
Because I've come across Rat King trophies, but there's so many like Easter eggs that are hidden in this that I've found so far. And
Speaking of Riddler trophies, are those present in this?
they're Rat King trophies in this. So, because again,
Okay.
this is earlier on, so I don't know if I don't know where the Riddler fits into this yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you have to like, oh, I can see that vent up there has either like one of the little Rat King trophies, which when you pick them up, you have to like slam them into the ground to shatter them to collect them.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's these little Rat King broadcast radios that you have to destroy. So you'll see like a little green light up in a corner, and you're like, okay, how do I get to that?
So clearly I'm going to have to play this game.
Oh, without
Sounds
a doubt.
kind of awesome.
Like this is probably the first, like one of the first like true games that I'm like, okay, this is super, super immersive. This is a game that could legitimately straight up sell a quest. And I'm glad that if you get like the newer MetaQuest 3s, like this comes bundled with it. So
Yeah,
it's definitely something that like pushes sales for it. And if Alien Rogue Incursion is half this good, I'm gonna be I'll be so happy.
Very cool, man.
Do you need a lot of room to play this?
I would say don't play near anything that is breakable.
Didn't when we were playing on my basement, I was
Yeah,
getting
Scott-
dangerously close to
I
my
was just
TV,
like, Scott,
right?
you're getting real close to your TV. And that is one of the really cool things about the way the MetaQuest 3 like maps a room out. Like Scott put on the headset and he's like, whoa, this is weird. Because it starts mapping the room out. And it will actually map out furniture.
Yeah, and it does it automatically. Like with the old Quest, you had to like kind of like draw this line around the outside of the room to do a boundary, and this does it all for you.
Gross. Well, that's good.
You can still do the old school like draw the circle on the ground and everything. But if you want to like a much more immersive play experience in some of the games that are on the Quest 3, it will map out the entire room and kind of build the environment to it.
Just crazy.
Yeah, so
That's-
AR and VR are really starting to push some boundaries, and I'm excited for it.
I agree. Again, that is Batman Arkham Shadow. Is it exclusive to the MetaQuest 3?
I believe so.
So you can't even buy it standalone. You had to buy a MetaQuest 3 and get it packed
Just
in.
like Alien Rogue Incursion, man.
That's going to come packed in, or you're getting it?
I already pre-ordered it, but it's on the MetaQuest 3 only.
Only. Interesting. Awesome, dude.
All right. Speaking of shadows, Scott, you've been playing Shadows of the Damned Hella Remastered?
I have. Have you guys played the original?
Nope.
No. Okay.
No.
So back
Sorry.
in whatever year this was, it was an Xbox 360 game. I don't even know if this was on PS3 or not. But this is, if you've never played it, you play as a character named Garcia Hotspur. Only he uses a certain word as his middle name that I can't say on this podcast. And when he says it, it's freaking hilarious. This is like a Robert Rodriguez movie brought to life. You play as Garcia Hotspur, who is a demon hunter. His girlfriend is kidnapped by some demon overlord, and she takes him, or he takes her down to the depths of the underworld, and you're basically going to try to rescue her. It is a very linear third-person shooter where your weapon is actually your companion as well. You've got a floating skull by the name of Johnson that talks to you, and he's hilarious. He's voice acted fantastically. But he acts as your torch. He acts as your motorcycle. He acts as your gun. He just kind of transforms this stuff. And it is super over-the-top, ridiculous, crazy gore, and chock full of dick jokes. I mean, just nonstop. Like, there are some jokes in here that I mean, the whole game kind of crosses the line, but it's done in such a way that I think is actually really funny. It's fully aware of how ridiculous it is. Like, if this game were made today, it never would have flown. It never would have happened. but I find it absolutely hilarious. There's one moment towards the end of the game that I hope you guys experience at some point because it's so over the top ridiculous what you're actually doing in this scene, and it's just blatant. I mean, there's just like these innuendos in every dialogue scene. There's some innuendo about male genitalia, and it's so funny.
See, here's the thing: you say that like this kind of game couldn't get made today, but Shadow Warrior exists. Bulletstorm, the Duke Nukem edition exists.
Those are also 360 era games, man. Like those aren't
Shadow
new
Warrior
games.
3 came out.
It was a remake.
Shadow Warrior 3.
I thought that was a remake of Shadow Warrior 3.
No, that was a new game.
Okay, well, I didn't play that one to know. I mean, this is like sophomoric level of. It's not just like lots of swearing. It is like, haha, I just referenced a penis, like over and over and over and over and over again. Like I'm shocked that neither of you have played this game because I think you guys would both really like it. The combat, like I said, it's third person over the shoulder shooting, and the game does this really fun thing where you're fighting these demons, and you can get a headshot. If your first shot is a headshot, it's an insta-kill. If you miss the headshot and do a body, you can still get a headshot, but it's not going to do this like glory kill kind of thing. So you're really incentivized to get that headshot first, which isn't super easy because the demons move back and forth, whatever.
I was watching
the rest.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was watching the video of it while you were talking about it, and yeah, there's a couple of points where he gets a headshot. It just, I want to do like the Halo effect, like yay, but it's just blood and guts.
Yeah. The game also has like this these really super weird mechanics. Like it's Suda 51. I don't know how familiar you guys are familiar you guys are with
Lollipop Chainsaw.
Okay, yeah. So you know just how off the wall he can be. So there are different areas where it's super dark and you can't walk through it without your health getting hurt. So you have to find a light source to light it up. So the light sources are these giant goat heads hanging from walls that you have to shoot with your light gun. And these goats sit there and they chew. You can one is nearby because you hear this chewing noise. And then you get close to it and you see this goat just up there chewing grass. And you shoot that with your gun and it lights up the room. There are doors that have these little baby faces on the front of them. And in order to open them up, you have to find strawberries, which act as the keys. And you shove the strawberry in the baby's mouth and it opens up the door. It's bizarre stuff like that like just makes this game so off the wall weird. I love it, and I can't tell you why.
I'm gonna need to play this game.
Come on over, man. It's so over the top. Like even the music, like the opening, the game does the thing where like you start the game before you see the title screen, and then when the title screen hits and you see the actual new game or continue or settings, and there's just a background of Garcia riding his motorcycle with this heavy metal music playing in the background. It's so rad. I just want to keep playing this game. It's so not PC, and I just love that it exists still. So right. I can't wait to keep playing this game. So Shadows of the Damned. Here's the really best part about this: the game is $25.
Yeah.
Like that's the price point remakes like this should be. And I know we kind of have mixed feelings about how we feel about remakes, but I can't play the original Shadows of the Damned anymore without firing up my Xbox 360, and I don't even have a copy of the disc anymore. So this felt great just to be able to drop $25 and be able to play this. It's like an 8 to 12 hour campaign. This would be a great passive controller game, Jacob. We should just like sit down and play this one together. You do Inverted?
No.
See that?
Thank you,
passive
Jacob.
Controller is a bad idea.
Thank you.
All right.
If I move the stick to the right, I want to look to the right. If I move the stick up, I want to look up. I'm not a pilot.
Yeah, I go on the pilot mentality, but that's because I grew up on Ace Combat. So anyway, that is Shadows of the Dam.
So you've been playing something else
Remastered.
Too?
Yes, I have been playing.
What is this? Camp Bloodbrook?
Yes, it is a new pinball table.
Okay.
Pinball M is like the mature pinball tables, like all the dark. When I say mature, don't get excited, Jacob. I can see the look in your eye. I know I just got done talking about penises and stuff in the other game. No, it's nothing like that. These are more like
slots and balls.
These are more like horrific type stuff, like or horror themed stuff. And Camp Bloodbrook is like based on an 80s slasher vibe. It's not like based on a specific movie, like Chucky is in these games. The Thing, there's a Thing table, there's a Duke Nukem table, but this one is like a completely original property. You've got a serial killer that's stalking campers. That's the theme. The whole thing is super bloody and gory. You see the killer actually pick up camp counselors by the neck, and he's covered in blood. It's kind of cool. So the crazy thing about this is that as dark as the table is, it's super accessible. You'd think with it being really dark and freaky and scary that it's going to be a hard table. It's one of the easiest to understand, and that's one thing I appreciate about tables now and then is that they're it's not hard to ascertain what you need to do in order to rack up some decent points. So highly recommend Camp Bloodbrook. That's it's quite a bit of fun.
Yeah, I never figured out pinball tables.
No.
I'm
gonna have to educate you on pinball tables at some point.
We
went to the Pinball Expo and we went to the Pinball Expo and he just did not want to play pinball at all. He wouldn't let me teach him.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're sitting here and you're like, oh, okay, learn something new. Juggle balls. Thanks, Scott.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
You juggle balls with flippers.
I like
Balls
pinball.
of
What can I
steel.
say, man?
So, well, speaking of...
To figure out what you're doing next, look over there, away from the table of what you're trying to do.
Oh, I love when he tries to explain the whole table. He's like, oh, well, you got to go up this ramp to light up this thing over here. Then you got to shoot this thing 3 times while juggling backwards on a foot in your head. I'm like, bro, I just want to hit the ball and give me points. I don't need a storyline on a table.
Right. Sorry, CB, I messed up your segue.
No, it's fine. Speaking of playing things, Scott's you've also been playing Vampire Survivors DLC Ode to Castlevania.
Yeah, it was $4 to get this thing.
Yeah.
I haven't played Vampire Survivors in a while. If you remember, I had almost everything unlocked. But they finally did what I was hoping they were going to do, which is, go the Castlevania route, because the game felt so much like Castlevania. Just like the turkey that you pick up, the little meat thing felt like that. The whip, everything felt Castlevania. So now they're leaning full into it. They partner with Konami. They did the Contra one before, or not? Did I say Konami? Yeah,
Yes.
Konami. They partnered with them before on the Contra one, which I never touched for some reason. I was just kind of a little burnt out on Vampire Survivors, but when they announced Castlevania, I was like, I got to give this a shot. And I'm so glad I did, because, man, it's like it's like you ever play a game and you like it so much and you spend all this time of putting into all this work in it and you want to keep playing it, but you kind of run out of things to unlock. So part of you wants to start over and do it again from the beginning, but you don't really want to, you don't at the same time don't want to start over. This basically lets you start from where you left off and gives you double the content. So all the old permutations are there, all the old combinations are there, but they basically give you just twice as many with new weapons and new characters, and you have a whole new achievement list. It's like starting over without starting over. And oh, by the way, it's all themed after Castlevania, so you get new music and you get new characters and you get new enemies, and it all feels awesome. The weapons are all brand new. You have new combinations to learn. There's not much more to say other than it's more Vampire Survivors, and I'm here for it. So absolutely love it.
Let's see. A Belmont, a Belmont, a Belmont, a Belmont.
There's something like 37 Belmont characters. I love Castlevania, but I'm not into the lore of Castlevania or the characters' names, but they get every character from even the GBA games.
Well, that's why you were like, oh, they added new characters. So I'm like, oh, Belmont, 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 and Dracula.
Well, I think I was playing it when you came over on Saturday. I was right at the tail end of a run, wasn't I?
Yeah.
When you popped over and all the chaos. The that game just still blows me away at like how simple it starts out, and then what it eventually turns up into. And I feel like I've been chasing that dragon ever since that game came out. Where there's been all kinds of clones and games that pop up that are very similar to it, or are paying homage to it, and they just never quite hit the mark.
Did you ever beat Dead Cells?
Well, no, but Dead Cells is still like a 2D platformer, right? Like
I know. But I mean, that I'm waiting for more stuff for that, because like that's the dragon I chase. So,
did you play the Castlevania stuff for that?
No. I need to dive back to that, and just like I need more Binding of Isaac, more poop jokes.
Man, I'd be so lost with Binding of Isaac at this point. I don't remember what the stuff is anymore. Like is that a game you can just dive back into? I wonder.
I kind of want to find out.
We should do that for next week. Kind of go back into Binding of Isaac. I wonder where my save file is at this point, because man, that game is addicting.
I still only have one ending left in that game.
Really?
Yeah, I'm one ending away, and it's like the most ridiculous one where it's like, oh yeah, collect like every single possible thing in a run, and it's insane, like to unlock the like final ending.
I would love to. We should compare notes next week. If I say I'm a big talker. I don't know if you guys listen to the show. I say I'm gonna do things, and then I never follow through with it when it comes to playing games. I just keep playing what I'm playing, but who knows?
You talked during the entire podcast.
What's that?
You talked through the entire podcast.
Well, that's my job.
Well, you're just talking about how big of a talker you were.
It's my job.
Anyway. Jacob, let's move over to you, man.
No.
You might be the biggest Monster Hunter fan I know personally. And you talked about it on your Desert Island Patreon episode. And I discovered how much you love that game when I went to Midwest Gaming Classic with you, and you about geeked out when you saw homemade flasks that had like the potion from Monster Hunter on there. I've never seen someone so giddy for something that wasn't even a licensed thing. You just thought it was the coolest thing ever. So anyway, you got your hands on, is it the beta?
Yes.
For Monster Hunter Wilds. You're playing it on PC.
Yeah.
So as, you know, the biggest Monster Hunter fan I know, how are you enjoying this one?
It's really hard for me to tell right now, because there are the graphical glitches that are happening with the PC right now.
Oh, you sent us some screenshots. I forgot about that. They look pretty rough.
They are. Yeah, if you haven't seen this yet, look it up real quick. It looks worse than N64 graphics, or on par. I was fighting I was calling it a purse monster, which is actually a Super Mario 64 reference that nobody seems to understand, but that's fine. I get it.
I don't know that reference.
Yeah, never mind. Well, moving on. But the very first creature you fight looks has big forearms, has rough skin, his tongue like flails around, and he drools everywhere. And when you first come across this creature,
you fight CB.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
I don't even think you heard me.
No, I'm looking at the images from this, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, they are bad. The first time you fight this thing, it spawns with, well, there's no texture on the body. It's the main body itself. It's got no limbs. Its tongue appears every now and then it's just got drool marks from the front of it, so you know which way it's facing. Other than that, there's no other details about this creature that is visible. The same thing goes with characters inside the main world. They spawn with their bodies and their heads, and they're kind of gross looking, but then they've got no limbs and no hands, no feet, and no textures to speak of whatsoever. But there are without online players, there are 3 models that load up just fine. There's the new hot blacksmith that they keep talking about that loads in just fine. I wonder why. There's your character that loads in just fine. And then there's your handler's ability that loads in just fine. And then everyone else is just kind of janky. So from a like actual player, like, oh, I dodged this way, I dodged that way. I don't know timing in this game because I can't see anything. So I don't know how fast paced or how slow paced this game actually is, because there's not really any kind of thing that I can latch onto to understand how things are moving. Other than that, playing the game by itself, it took me a couple of tries playing with the graphics to get them smooth. I'm not running the best equipment, but the game is recent, and so it's running higher graphics, which is part of the reason why I was saying that games need to stop improving graphics and focus on the gameplay itself, because the graphics aren't getting any better anymore, but they are still requiring more data. Monster Hunter Wilds is supposed to release, I think, with over 100 gigabytes of data, which I don't know for what, unless they add every creature that they've ever made, which is 140 something by now. So, unless they have everything that they've ever had in any game ever in this game, I don't know why it's that much. The beta itself was 23 gigs. So that's nuts. Other than that being said, the game runs pretty smooth. The director of the game came out and said that, again, they wanted to make the game even easier for new players. So there's no more hunting. It's just called Monster. You get the excuse.
What do you mean? It's literally just called Monster?
So
or you're being funny.
I'm being funny because you're a monster hunter, but there's no hunting. So the excuse that they use in World, they had the scout flies, and so when you met the creature, tracked the creature, found clues, all that stuff, the scout flies became uniquely aware of where the monster was, and then you could find it easier than having to actually go from area to area to area. In this game, you start with a creature that is very intimate with the surrounding creatures and the area. And so when you say, hey, I need to go find this creature, the thing that you're riding instantly knows where it is and takes you directly to it on autopilot. So there's no finding your way through. There's no jumping over things. Everything about movement is handled by this creature. Even the special little areas where you have to like jump from ledge to ledge to ledge, everything is handled by this creature. I played the game for probably about 5 hours. And most of the time the controller was sitting in my lap because there's nothing to do at those points. You just let the creature run to it and then you fight it. They did add new fighting mechanics to certain weapons. I noticed that certain weapons did not have backup attacks. So if you were attacking the creature and held back and attacked before, nothing would happen. And now they have special animations for special attacks for those new directions. Certain things are handled differently, and I leave it vague because it's still vague to me, even though I've been playing it for a little bit. The way you shoot guns are weird. Before, the bow guns were kind of like a stop and then shoot, and then in Worlds they changed it, and now they're even weirder. So I don't know. They keep pushing this idea that Monster Hunter needs to become more and more theatrical and less playable, and then easier and easier for new players to adapt to playing this game. And it's becoming almost there was a knockoff game that came out, and I can't remember what it was called, but it's basically that.
Wild Hearts?
No. Before that, it looked like Fortnite but Monster Hunter, and it was gross, and I cannot remember it. But yeah, there's that game. I played it for a little bit. When you start the quest, you jump onto this island floating in the sky, and the creature's there. You fight it, you win. You know whatever. And that's kind of what this feels like. Because I know the very first mission that you play in the beta, they tell you to go fight this thing, and you walk out the front door, the quest starts, and the creature is right below you.
Oh, there's no hunting. You're just
yeah, and I'm assuming that it's going to be harder to find creatures. The creatures are going to get harder as you progress, but when you don't actually need to do any of the old school stuff in Monster Hunter, what made Monster Hunter for a lot of players. It's a completely different game at this point.
It's Monster Fighter.
Yeah, basically. And it's
Now, I haven't played the original games, but was it like, tracking finding a trail and
you had
tracking it?
So because the world was split up into zones that were separated by loading screens, when you were in a zone, if a creature was in an area that was adjacent to that zone, you could hear the creature coming from that area. So when you would go to that area, then you had paintballs, and then you could use these paintballs to track the target. It would mark it on your map for 10 minutes, and then that's how you followed it around. Or you could get skills that would allow you to see it on the map. And then Worlds came out. They took all that stuff out of the game. They gave you the scout flies that would instantly know where once you're at end game, knows where every creature is at all times. And it's just, I had talked about how easy that game was, and then Rise made it even worse by giving you the dog, and so your mode of transportation was twice as fast. Every creature you didn't have scout flies in Rise. But all the creatures were still marked, so you could still go to them even faster than before. And now in Wilds, it's even faster. So yeah, they're just taking out this huge chunk of what made the game and maybe the hunts weren't as terrible back then, but you still had to do your due diligence to find it and come prepared to the fight, and backing out of a quest and going and getting correct armaments, weapons, armor, that kind of stuff was something that happened. And in Worlds, you didn't have to do that because you could just go home, change armor and all that kind of stuff. But now they give you basically the entire base camp, where in previous games where you would back out and go to this encampment to where you could make new weapons, new armors, all that stuff outside of combat. Now, while you are in combat in the game, you can leave combat, go to this town, make a completely new set of gear, and walk back out of the building and continue your fight.
So it sounds like they're making this more to draw in new players instead of satisfying the true faithfuls. Is that accurate?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's good for revenue, I suppose, but or maybe not if the old school players aren't going to dig it as much. But are you going to draw in new players? Do you think to Monster Hunter?
World got a lot of new players for them, and that was great in my eyes that a lot of new people were playing Monster Hunter, because that was not a huge fandom when I was growing up. But now that if we make it easier, we'll draw in more people, that it's ruining it in my eyes, because now you're not going for what made the game good, you're making for what makes you money. And
you're buying the name, or you're paying for the name instead of the quality of previous game.
Yeah.
Do you have any, I know you said this is just the beta, do you have any hope for things to change when it actually releases, or you kind of think they're kind of set in their ways at this point?
Well, obviously, I'm sure that they'll fix all of the graphical issues and all that nonsense by release, but other than that, I think they're pretty much set in how they want to do things. There's not really anything that they're not gonna make the game harder now to make previous people happy. I just go back and play old Monster Hunter games.
So they need to release a game called Monster Hunter OG for you?
Well, that was funny enough. That was actually what Generations was supposed to be, because it took all of the old games and made one last game,
mashed them together.
Worlds, and mashed them together. Yeah, because as you progress through the storyline of Generations, you went from town to town to town that you've played in previous games, and dealt with characters and stuff that were more prominent in those single games than they were now. But that was kind of that was almost like a farewell game, and then they came out with the Worlds, and it's completely different. And Wilds isn't a continuation of Rise or it's more of Worlds 2. It's got its own storyline and everything, but the game plays more like World than it does Rise.
Gotcha. Well, I'm sorry you're not getting what you wanted, man, because I know
I never
what
get
a
what I
fan
want.
you are. I mean,
Yeah.
It is what it is, but thanks for checking out and reporting on it. I do appreciate it. Before we move on, I got some other reviews to talk about. I sat down with Alyssa, who couldn't be here tonight, but she was able to pre-record with me her review of a game that she's been checking out for us. And also, Joel stopped by to talk about 2 games that he's been playing. We're going to play those for you right now. Well, hello there, Alyssa. How are you doing today?
Hi, Scott. I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. Ma'am. I called you man. I don't know what's up with that. You were here to talk to us about a game you've been playing called Two Falls.
Yes.
You're playing this on PC. To my knowledge, it's only available on PC. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Now, are you playing this on Steam Deck, or are you playing this on an actual PC or laptop?
I'm playing it on Steam Deck.
All right. Good to know it's compatible there.
Mhm.
It comes from developer Unreliable Narrators, which is such an interesting
Yeah,
developer,
I love
think.
that name.
The publisher is Indie Asylum, and it was provided to us by the PR firm called Purple is Royal. Again, another kind of clever PR. Anyway,
Yeah.
watch this trailer. I feel like I haven't seen a trailer for a game in a while where it was clearly trying to send some kind of message. Is that true about this game? Is it trying to say something?
I believe so, yes, but the story is unraveling in different directions, so I don't know for certain. I'm not finished with it quite yet, but
Okay.
the story starts off, you're playing as 2 different characters. One character is a young woman named Jeanne. She was on a ship that was going from France to Canada to relocate to Quebec, but the ship crashes and only she and a dog survive. And then there is Mikan, who is an indigenous young man that lives where they crash, and you see how their lives are starting to intertwine, but they keep missing each other. And it does have themes of faith and tradition, and Mikan is Innu, so it goes along with Innu history as well.
I think that's interesting in itself, the setting, because from the trailer it looks like it's very Wild West frontier era, but you're saying this takes place in frontier Quebec. I think we kind of correlate frontier with American West, but yeah, this takes place in Canada, which is kind of cool. The trailer also kind of gives the impression that it's trying to do the empathetic story, like to get you to understand both sides of a situation. You know, like you said, there's the 2 characters, right?
Yeah.
Is that what's going on here? Like you're like you don't know. I mean, you're clearly playing both characters, so you kind of feel for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find yourself leaning one way or the other? Like, is one right? Is one wrong? What's going on here?
No, I don't really feel like I'm leaning one way or another. I like both characters, and you can influence the characters' personalities because while this is mostly a walking sim, there are some dialogue choices that will pop up, and whatever you select will make the character lean more towards a certain way, not necessarily negative, but say Jeanne has 2 dialogue choices come up. One will make her more, it'll say dogmatic in her faith, and one will be more liberal in her faith. But you don't know which is which really until you select it, and then the game tells you.
So is that most of the gameplay is dialogue choices, or is there any, puzzle solving or combat or anything like that?
You're just walking and doing dialogue choices. Occasionally something will be on the screen that you can click on to look at, but it's very much a walking simulator.
Gotcha. The other thing I wanted to mention is, while I don't think that every game has to look photorealistic or, AAA quality, something that stood out to me from watching this is that it looks like an indie game. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
In terms of graphical quality. Was that a detriment, or is that a detriment to your experience, or does it matter?
To me, it doesn't matter. If people are, concerned with graphics, I could see them not wanting to play this, but to me, it doesn't matter as long as the story's good. And I'm hooked enough by the story to not care about the graphics as much, but it is a little funny sometimes. You'll look down and see, like, right through your character, they're just invisible.
Yeah.
Or their arm will become detached and just float in the air.
Hey, I mean, it happens, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean... But, I mean...
graphics aside, and like you said, it doesn't bother you, you're digging the story, do you recommend people check this one out?
If it sounds interesting to you, totally. I think it's going to be a pretty short game. I've got about 3 hours in, and I believe I'm halfway through, so probably about a 6-hour game. I'm estimating. It could be shorter or longer.
Okay. Do we know the price point on this one? I could not find
Not
it.
yet. I'm
All right.
not sure.
As of this recording, I know we are recording this before the embargo is lifted, but not releasing it until after
Yeah.
the embargo is lifted. Purple is Royal, don't come after us. Yeah, so we'll stay tuned for the price point on that one. But Alyssa, thanks for stopping by to talk about this game. I'm intrigued by this setting. I feel like I can't think of another game that took place in the Canadian frontier.
I mean, we don't get a lot of games set in Canada in the first place anyway, so.
Yeah. That alone gets me really intrigued. So I'm intrigued for sure. All right, well, we'll let you go. Thanks for stopping by. We'll catch you on the next episode, all right? Joel Solinsky, how you doing, man?
Good, Scott. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, except you keep trying to make me play Call of Duty, and I don't think I like it nearly as much as you do.
I think you'll get to like it, especially if we do private matches. That's fun.
You said that last time.
But
You're not here to talk. You're not here to talk about Call of Duty. You actually have been reviewing a couple games for us, and we're going to start with Predator Hunting Grounds, which is available. Well, there's a demo available on Xbox right now. Apparently, this game's been out since 2020 on PC.
Yeah, PC and PlayStation, and it just came over to Xbox and I think PS5.
Okay, cool. So it's developed by Ilphonic, published by Sony Interactive Entertainment, and the demo was provided to you by Stride PR. It's like I said, it's a free demo right now, but I know very little about this. Is this one of the ones where one person plays the Predator and everybody else plays, like human people or whatever?
Yeah. It's an asymmetrical shooter, so it's one versus 4.
Uh-huh.
There is another game mode which is just 4v4, but really the 1 versus 4 is really where it's at. So
Wait, 4v4, is that 4 predators versus 4 humans, or
4 humans versus 4 humans? You can randomly change into a predator, but really the bulk of the game is the 1 versus 4.
Okay, now this is a formula that's been pretty popular with other franchises. I think Halloween, or not Halloween, was it Halloween that did it?
There is I forget the name of the game, but I believe there was one of the bad guys from Halloween in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have played that before, although I greatly enjoyed this one much more.
Okay, so the big question I have in a game like this is because I'm so used to like the Gears mentality when it comes to online multiplayer, where everybody is completely a mirror image of the other team. Everybody has the same loadouts, everybody has the same move sets, everything. But in here, you're 1 predator versus 4 humans. How does the balancing work on that? How does it make it so that it's fair?
So it's very much like the movies. So it takes an army to take down a predator.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it's going to take all 4 of you working together to take down anyone that's even halfway competent playing the predator.
Okay, I'm listening.
So as the predator, you get all kinds of high-tech gadgets like the heat vision, the cloaking device so that you can turn invisible. You've got your shoulder cannon that you can lock onto people and shoot them. Although, just like in the movie, they can see those 3 red dots projecting from you.
Oh, that's cool. Now, when you say invisible, he was kind of invisible in the movie. Like he kind of blended in with the environment, almost like high-tech camouflage.
Yes.
Do you see that, or is he completely invisible when you're playing the game?
Nope. That is exactly what you see. It is that. And if you're not moving, it is very hard to see him.
Okay.
I'm seriously impressed with how it works. The other thing that's different, when you're playing the Spec Ops, the 4 humans, you're playing in a first-person view. When you're playing the Predator, you're in third-person view.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So you can see your camo as well as they can.
Interesting. I'm intrigued by this. I'm not usually big into this, but there's something about Predator that just makes a lot of sense for this type of game. So I'm intrigued. Which do you prefer to play as? Do you prefer to play as the Predator or as the humans hunting the Predator?
So if I've got friends that are going to play, it's really fun to play as the Spec Ops squad because you can communicate. And communication in a game like this is absolutely key. Occasionally, I'll get into some randoms with other people that will communicate, and it's a good time.
Yeah.
But if I'm just playing by myself, playing as the Predator is really a lot of fun because you don't have to worry about the communication aspect of it. Plus, it's
Gotcha.
also fun being able to hunt people as they're running around the map.
Yeah, I'm imagining myself playing as the Predator and making it a hide and seek kind of game where I just hang out in a tree or something and wait for people to come find me. If they can't see me and it's impossible to see me when I'm still,
Yep.
is there any advantage to the other team if I'm standing still, or can I just do that?
You can do that. So depending on how you build the Predator, so your cloaking device uses energy, and you have a limited amount of that before it has to recharge. Now,
Oh.
I started playing around with different perks and different builds on the Predator, and I've actually got one where I can run the cloaking device indefinitely and never run out of energy. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, I'll bet. It seemed kind of broken. Like, are you impossible to kill at that point?
Oh, not at all. No. In fact, I've been killed plenty of times.
So are you more squishy than or who's more squishy?
Oh, the humans by far.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, by far. Now, if they injure me and I bleed, of course, my blood glows, so they can now track me. Now, the heat vision, when you turn that on as the Predator, what really blew me away when I first started playing this, it is exactly like you experience in the movie. The screens flash through, and it's got kind of that low rumble as it flashes through the different views.
Yeah.
And the audio changes. And what they're saying, it's amplified, but it sounds really slow and distorted, just like it does in the movies.
Oh, it sounds like the people that made this IllFonic really get the Predator, and they love that franchise.
Absolutely. It is an incredible experience if you are a fan of the movies, or and it's also got stuff from like the comic books and the novels and stuff in it as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastically done. Dutch actually makes a reappearance as Tapes, if you remember Dutch from the first movie, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, who, by the way, does the voices for Dutch in the game.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, as you level up, you get Tapes, and it kind of fills in the story with there being no real single player mode. That's how you get the story, and you listen to his recordings of what's going on.
Awesome. This sounds like a winner. Like I said, I don't play multiplayer a whole lot, as you know.
Right.
I think the extent of my multiplayer experiences with you lately. But it sounds like you recommend this one.
I definitely recommend this one. I mean, I think the price is what, $19.99, I think, for the base game. It is worth every penny.
Awesome, man. Thanks for checking that out. Let's move on to the other game you've been playing. It's called KIBORG Arena. You played just the preview for this one, not the full game. But this one is, you're playing on Xbox, but it's also available on PlayStation and PC. Developed by Sobaka Studio. I believe that's a Russian studio, if I'm not mistaken. And it's published by Sony Interactive Entertainment and PlayStation Studios. Also provided to us by Stride PR. So shout out to those guys for another one. I watched the trailer for this one. Joel, I don't know if you've played the Arkham games, but this looks like if Arkham Asylum's combat had a baby with Smash TV.
That is a really good way to describe it, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right on. That's 100% right there.
Okay. So explain to everybody what that means.
So it's in the game that I'm playing, the demo, you're limited to basically the endless wave mode. And it's basically the level starts, you punch a gong, which signals that you're ready to begin combat, and then enemies start coming at you.
But it is set up like a TV show, right? Like you're providing entertainment for something.
Yes, basically, and that's exactly how it works. The enemies come in, you beat them up in different ways that you can come up with. There's weapons that you can pick up that drop once in a while. You finish a level and you can get like augmentations and implants and things like that. And you just keep going and collecting your resources until you die. And then you go into like this virtual world where you can spend those resources and unlock different things, like, unlock more health, or unlock the ability to have primary and secondary stats on your gear. Unlock different combos.
So it acts more like a rogue, kind of like you're starting over.
It's like, yeah, if Arkham Asylum and that were a rogue game, like a roguish game. Exactly.
Interesting. The thing that kind of stuck out to me from the trailer is just how viscerally violent this game looks.
It's over the top violent. It's so much fun as far as that goes. Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, the combat feels so much like Arkham. Like they even have the same like little indicators over the enemies' heads.
Mhm.
You're flipping, but you also have weapons like guns and melee weapons and things like that. It looks like gladiatorial. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Combat, but in a futuristic setting, and I don't know. It looks brutal.
Yeah, you even have like clubs, except instead of clubs, they have circular saw blades on the end of them.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
It's wild. The only, I guess, I really enjoy the game. It's fun, and I would love to try the full version to see where they go with it. With this mode, you eventually get to a point where you can't even pull off a combo because there's so many enemies,
Right.
and you die and start over, which of course is the point, seeing how far you can go.
Mm-hmm. Do you get the sense that you'll be able to become so powerful that you'll be able to overcome that, or is there always going to be an end like that, or is there an end game?
I don't know in this mode. This mode is purely see how far you can get. As far as I know, there's no end to it.
Gotcha. So KIBORG Arena, the Xbox preview is available. I think it's available for people to download for free to try it out. No, I don't really have any notes on when the full game releases, but stay tuned for that. This may be one you guys want to check out, assuming you recommend it.
I recommend it as long as there is more to it. And there obviously has to be, because this is purely just locked down to the unlimited mode.
Gotcha.
And that is fun, but it doesn't have like long-term replayability. But if with some other modes, it is fun. I mean, definitely fun.
Cool. And I mean, it's hard to say no to a free demo. Like,
oh yeah,
we don't get demos too much anymore. So again, that is KIBORG Arena. Like I said, you can check it out on Xbox, PlayStation, or PC. It sounds really cool. The trailer looks just, like I said, brutal is the only word I can come up with. But
it's so visceral. Like the combat, like when you're wailing away on somebody, like it sounds good. It feels like there's some weight behind the blows.
It almost feels like every time you do a hit, the camera kind of like zooms in just a tiny little bit to like accentuate. Or am I imagining that?
No, the camera does move, and like there's certain moves you can do where you'll fly across the screen, and the camera feels almost like it's like a trailing drone, like in a sports action film.
Yeah, that's definitely the vibe they're going for. Is this is a entertainment value thing that people are watching for sport?
Yeah, and it is. It is really, like I said, visceral, and you just feel it when you're in there. It's kind of exciting.
Very cool. Well, Joel, thank you so much for checking out those two games. They both sound really awesome. I may have to add them to my list. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem, man. We'll catch you next time.
All right. See ya.
Thanks to both of them for those reviews. Do appreciate it. As a reminder, everybody, Facebook.com/groups/the GoCast is where you can follow our community, or on Discord. The link is in the show notes. We have a new member over there. Goes by the name simply IsLeap. ISLEAP. Welcome to the community. I hope you were enjoying it over there. Do us a favor, drop us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to the show. We would appreciate it. And lastly, check out our website, thegamingoutsider.com. There you can find all of our episodes if you choose to listen that way. Or you can find all of our written content. We had quite a week of written reviews. Sean's review of Starship Troopers Extermination, Mark's review of #Drive Rally, Alyssa's review of B Project Ryusei Fantasia, Mark's review of A Quiet Place, The Road Ahead, CJ's review of Avatar The Last Airbender, Quest for Balance, and then this is my week to get caught up. You can read my reviews for a bunch of pinball tables, including Goat Simulator, Princess Bride, and Camp Bloodbrook, as well as the remaster of Arrow the Acrobat, and lastly, Knock on the Coffin Lid. If you like Slay the Spire, you need to play Knock on the Coffin Lid. That game is shockingly good. And also, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but today marks our 100th review game that we reviewed over here at the Gaming Outsider. That's a pretty big milestone. We don't even usually hit that number every year. and 100 reviews written and on the podcast. It's a pretty cool feeling. So thanks to all of our writers that contributed to making that happen. We're going to go ahead now and jump into our From the Outside In topic. It's the first episode of the month, which means it's time for one of our favorite things to do for our From the Outside In topic, and that's having some fun conversations centered around questions we receive from the community. We posted on Facebook, Discord, and Twitter, asking for thought-provoking questions centered around video games. As usual, you guys delivered. Here is what we've got. CB, why don't you kick things off over on Facebook?
Oh, well, Sean Coates wants to know, what are some gaming tropes that you find really annoying? As in moments or sequences that bring an otherwise great gaming experience to an axe-grinding halt. For me, it's forced hallucination stages, particularly in first-person shooters. Call of Duty and Far Cry are both guilty of this.
Forced hallucination, like where you're...
I'm having a
characters
flashback, or like I'm seeing something that's not there.
Gotcha. Okay. I feel like we had a whole episode on this at one point, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Like gaming tropes, like red barrels and stuff like that. I mean, the one that stands out right off the bat, and it should come as no surprise, is timers. When you I'm having fun with a game, and all of a sudden you do something that makes me do something in a certain amount of time, I get really frustrated. Or if I'm playing a standard third-person action game or a first-person shooter or something like that, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm playing a completely different game that involves things like RTS elements or tower defense elements.
That's why you hate Assassin's Creed Unity.
That one Assassin's Creed Revelations.
Yeah.
I did not finish that one because all of a sudden, tower defense, I'm like, I'm out. I don't... Or what's the Jack Black game?
Brutal Legend.
Brutal Legends. I was all about that game, and all of a sudden, like an hour into that game, I'm doing RTS stuff.
See, like, I know you hate timers, but there are times where it makes sense. Like, oh no, this building is crumbling around me, like, I need to get out.
Yes, I'm with you on that, but those don't feel like super pressure. I'm still doing the same thing that I'm doing. Like, I have to get out in a reasonable amount of time. One of my favorite games of all time is Super Metroid, and at the end of that, you beat the final boss, and then you have, 90 seconds to get out of the facility. That I never struggled with that. That was, it's a reasonable amount of time. It's the ones where it's like, or like when I'm playing an open world game, and I'm trying to save the world or do something, and then, oh, hey, you want to do this like racing mission where you got to race characters or you have to get from point A to point B for some arbitrary reason, even though like, the world's about to end.
But you like Ocarina of Time.
What, when you ride Epona? I hated that. That was like the section I didn't like, where I had to go around because you had to do that to get like certain items, and I hated it.
Go fishing.
That's another one. Fishing. When I'm playing a game and they add fishing to it, I'm out.
So Phantom Hourglass.
Did Phantom Hourglass? I don't remember.
Ocarina of Time.
Phantom Hour. Yeah, Ocarina of Time had fishing. I had to do it to get the whatever bottle or something. Whatever was in the fish.
What was it? The one Zelda game where he's on a ship.
Oh, Wind Waker?
No, the DS one. I'm pretty sure it's Phantom Hourglass.
I don't remember a ship in Phantom Hourglass. I don't know, he's on a train. Spirit Tracks?
No.
Is that the one you're thinking of?
But like you're on a sailboat and like you can do like the little thing to grab treasure at the bottom.
That's Wind Waker.
They also did. I'm pretty sure it was in Phantom Hourglass as well.
Okay. It's been over a decade since I played Phantom Hourglass.
I don't know. I mean, for me, like there's like the obvious ones. Like I hate glowy bits. Like it irritates me so much.
I don't hate it as much as
no,
most
glowy
people,
bits is dumb. Glowy bits is dumb. Shoot the enemy here. Climb here.
It definitely makes it feel like an arcade game, doesn't it? Like
no, it makes me feel like I'm a
like
stupid child. Like,
well,
you couldn't figure this out on your own, so we're gonna make it glow for you.
A lot of the newer games have been painting the ledges different colors, so you can find it easier. And before it was just like where am I supposed to go? And you would just have to find the railing.
Yeah, like, but I hate glowy bits. Explosive barrels is dumb.
You can thank Doom for that, right?
Yeah.
Or Wolfenstein.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, it's gotten to the point that, like, okay, in that game, it was early on. They didn't know what they're doing. But now it's still like, oh, look, I see 5 black barrels and 1 red barrel.
It depends on the game. Like in a game like
No.
Borderlands.
No, it's
makes
obvious. I hate looter shooters. Like that's just become a trope now.
What do you mean, like Borderlands?
Borderlands, Destiny, like, oh, we're gonna give you the same gun, just a little bit better.
I like the progression, although I don't play Destiny.
That's not progression. That's not progression.
How's that not progression?
Give me a different gun. Don't give me the same gun with just
Borderlands doesn't give you the same gun.
I don't
It
know if that would
feels-
be a trope or not, but it sucks.
No, like Destiny was real bad about it. Be like, look, you can have the exact same gun, but the stats are just
I played the
a
beta
hair
of Destiny.
better.
That's all I ever touched of it.
And
And that was back. I played it so early. Peter Dinklage was still playing Ghost.
yeah.
There's wizards on the moon. Are those wizards came from the moon? Is that what it was?
Yeah. Escort missions.
Oh man, remember GoldenEye? Natalia.
Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 5.
yeah. Yeah.
Stop.
Like I'm struggling taking care of myself. I don't want to take care of another person as well.
Another person that is so completely inept at living.
Right.
Like,
What about you, Jacob?
Well, going back to Ashley, though, it's just like, oh, look, you managed to survive out here without me, but for some reason, the moment I start helping you, you just die.
That's a really good point, actually.
My big trope would be followers that talk way too much. Whether that's in like Fallout or a linear game or whatever, the game will eventually drop a character on you that's like, hey, for this mission, this guy's going to be with you. And then they just will not shut up. And it makes it the most insufferable mission ever because you have to listen to this other person that's either narrating what's going on or just like bragging about you or talking about what's going wrong with him. And I don't care about you. If I know you can't die, I'm not worried about you. You can be quiet. Go in the
Navi.
corner.
Empathetic Jacob.
No, but yeah, Navi is one of them. Like I'm over here doing my own thing, and then you're just gonna be like, "Hey, listen." No, I don't want to listen. Stop. 20 minutes.
I want somebody
later.
to recode that game that you can just shoot Navi.
Jacob's like, I play games so I don't have to talk to people. Like, and you're making me talk to people in this game. Shut up.
I've been exploring this area for 40 minutes, and I've heard you speak like 300 times now.
That's funny to me. All right. Next one is on you, Jake.
All right. What is that? Jackie-son?
Sure.
Sorry, over on Discord. Many of us have been gaming for a while, myself now 44, yes. How has your taste of games changed? For me, it's mostly RPGs. I used to love or prefer turn-based Final Fantasy 7 through 9, Skies of Arcadia, KOTOR, many other JRPGs, etc. Now, I have much more fun with real-time action-adventure RPGs like Skyrim, the Witcher series, and now Dragon Age,
Veilgord.
Why is it an O?
It's a
Veilguard.
typo.
My bad. And I read it too. So
I just like the idea of like a wedding veil being over
A gourd.
a gourd.
Veilgord.
The cantaloupe.
Then it'd be the veiled gourd.
The veiled gourd. Can somebody put their Photoshop skills to work, please? That would be amazing.
I will work on it. Anyway, I have tried recent JRPGs that are turn-based and get bored so fast, like Octopath. I wanted to like it. I can't finish it.
I mean, that game suffered from grind issues, but
So yeah, mine is probably going to be the grindy games, the games that have a lot of time invested in them, because I love to play a game that's going to take 400 hours, but in the newer mantra of the games, they want you to play 400 hours of the same game loop over and over and over again for no reward. Whereas games like Skyrim want you to play 400 unique hours of the game and doing something different every time. The newer Monster Hunters, back to Monster Hunter, are notorious for this. Once you get to the final, the end game, there's either mystery quests or the illness and rise or whatever have you, that you just have to grind out all these very specific useless parts to increase your strength, not to a further level, but notches above where you are. So it's not like leaps and bounds anymore. It's just one more damage, or, you know, one more armor, you know, just this. And I'm not going to play 300 hours of a game that I have to repetitively fight the same creature over and over and over again, or the same type of creature to get the parts to make, you know, my sword +1. It's just not going to happen.
I think for me, like, he talked about JRPGs, and I think it's less about my tastes in gaming changing as much as it is my time, my available time to play games is not what it was when I was younger. When I was younger, I craved these super long, expansive RPGs because I had limited funds and all the time in the world to play them, right? Especially in the summer when there was no school. And nowadays, even in the summer, I can't find time to play the games that I want to, much less... I feel like I'm missing out on so many JRPGs or some of these expansive RPGs, like The Witcher, which was overwhelming. Like when I see 100 hours or something, I really want to play Persona 5, but I don't want to play Persona 5. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see what everybody...
I was going to say, I still stand by the fact that I think you just need to sit down, have a long talk with yourself, and be like, "Hey, like this time of the day is me time. I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want to do."
I don't think you understand exactly how much I do for this podcast, CB.
I understand it, but at the same time, like, you need you time.
I agree with you, and if you could figure out a way to make that time for me, I would be wide open to it.
Stop being old. Sleep less.
I am already down to sleep 6 hours a night, so I don't want to hear it.
6.
Well, at least Scott's
So
to-do
rookie
list won't
numbers.
involve a deck anymore.
That's true.
Yes.
Next, it'll be the garage.
It's
No,
actually
it's the bar.
fence.
Oh, it's the fence now?
The fence is next summer. Yes.
Or bar.
Poor fence.
Bar is going to happen sometime.
20 years.
Sometime that bar's going to happen. But all right, next question comes from
Hey,
Drew Ross.
hey. I didn't answer, sir.
Oh, you didn't get to answer? Okay, I'm
I will
sorry. Go
kick
ahead.
you in the mouth.
Oh, so loud.
For me, sports games. Sports games have surprisingly taken a severe backseat for me.
FIFA.
Yeah?
Dude, every single season, like the show, Madden, like the new college football game is out, and I haven't even started. And
Yeah,
I used to play every year of that.
I used to play the show every year. Not a lot, but I always back when Redbox was the thing, I would rent the show the weekend it came out just to play that because, it got you into baseball season, right?
Yeah, and Game Pass, you get it free, and still don't play.
I know, right? It's the crazy thing is I can
Yeah.
just download it for free and I'm still not doing it.
Dude,
It's
like
just nuts.
I still forgot that there was a new Forza, like Forza Motorsport. I didn't play it at all.
It's kind of crazy, man.
I mean, for me, yeah, like being a huge car nut, didn't play that at all. But shmups will never leave. They'll always stay.
What's the last shmup you played?
Galaga.
I mean, okay. What's the last new shmup you played? I'll even accept a Shmacross.
Schmacross. Schmangle.
God,
Schmacross
was so funny.
Well, I mean, I played a couple of them at our Extra Life event. Not new.
Oh, that's true. We played I can remember the name of that one that we played. We played a bunch of that one, actually.
Oh, Skyforce.
Skyforce. Yes.
Played some
Love that
Skyforce.
game.
I played some Ikaruga that day, too.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I hate that game.
It's because you suck at it.
I do suck at it. All right, now can I go to the next comment?
I guess you can.
All right.
Sure.
Drew Ross says, in your opinion, what's the most successful gaming franchise?
Tetris.
Which gaming franchise are you surprised fell off? Yeah, that was going to be my answer as well. Tetris. It's
Tetris is so far ahead of everything else, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most successful. It's the best-selling video game of all time. There's been how many iterations of it?
Yeah.
Even just the regular Tetris game.
Like,
we're getting a whole compilation of all so many different Tetris games coming.
yeah, like the moment you started reading that, it's like, what's the most successful gaming franchise? Like, instantly my brain just Tetris.
Yeah, that's
But
remind mine
let's
as well.
let's remove Tetris from the table.
Okay, Jacob, what do you think?
No one else has an opinion?
I was just
No.
We have
What's
We have
okay,
to listen to me talk about Monster Hunter again?
successful franchise?
For one,
Ooh.
Monster Hunter saved Capcom from death's door. Monster Hunter has an amusement park in Japan. Nintendo specifically made Monster Hunter portable so that more people in Japan would play it together because it was a huge game over there. It's one of the most successful franchises in Japan. So, as far as like franchises right now that go unsung, it's definitely Monster Hunter.
Pokemon.
I mean, I guess what your definition of successful is, right? Are we
Yeah,
talking about sales? Are we talking about popularity? Are we talking about? Do they all go hand in hand?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Monster Hunter too.
I like Monster Hunter 3.
I'm gonna slap you. But here's the thing. As far as most successful gaming franchise of all time,
But again, I'm not talking from a fan point. I'm just saying, Resident Evil doesn't have an amusement park dedicated to them. Assassin's Creed doesn't have an amusement park
Mario does.
dedicated.
Mario does.
Mario does, yeah.
Well, no,
Pokemon
Nintendo does.
Well,
Pokemon
Nintendo does. But oh yeah. So yeah, when you go like this idea, but again, Monster Hunter beat Resident Evil when it came to popularity for Capcom and saved Capcom because Resident Evil was failing.
If Call of Duty and a new Monster Hunter came out on the same day,
They have a game like that already. It's made by Capcom. It's like
I do-
I think
Exosuits
CB's
or
point is that
something.
if you had a Call of Duty game and a new Monster Hunter game released on the same day, which is going to be
what's
sell
the
better?
majority of the population going to buy?
It's probably going to be Black Ops, hands down, because there is a huge fan base for that because it's just how that game is. It's unfortunate.
I'm not trying to poo-poo on your position.
No, I completely understand when it comes time for like that kind of stuff. But again, when you have a game that is 10 plus years and every so often they come out with a new game such as Call of Duty, and now they're coming out with, I mean, what is this? If you add all the Call of Duty games up in the last 10 years, how many is this? 11, 12? You're getting rollover from old fan bases that are just piling and compiling onto each other. And so,
But
yeah,
Monster Hunter has the same thing.
Monster Hunter in the last 10 years has only released 4 main games. You've got Generations Ultimate, you have World, you have Rise, and then you have now Wilds that are coming out. And Black Ops 6 just dropped.
But see, this is the problem I hate with like severe like fanboyism. in general. Because it's not, there's nothing like so amazing that it's dragging a bunch of new people into these franchises.
No, there's not.
Like you talk to the majority of the people, like either you love Call of Duty or you hate Call of Duty. You like Monster Hunter or you don't. Pokemon, like all of them.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so sick of like even Assassin's Creed to a point. Like it's just come up with something new.
Yeah, but when they do come up with something new, nobody buys it.
Yeah, because it's new.
Until like later on, like people discover that like they're like, oh, this game's really good, and then
it's too late.
Yeah,
it's got a resurgence to bring back that studio that's since closed.
Dead Space.
5 years from now, Concord's gonna make a comeback.
Oh, dude, I saw Concord. They were selling physical copies on some random site, and they were like $40, and I was like, I can't spend $40 on that.
Best
But I really wanted to.
Dude, if you would have told me that, I would have been like, pick up one for me so I could have another one. Because I haven't opened one. I want a sealed one.
Oh, my God.
If anybody out there is listening and you find a cheap sealed copy of Concord, let me know.
Well, they were on, like, right when the studio closed, or not when the studio closed, but when they canceled the game, they were like $10 on Walmart, and I went to the site and they'd already shut it down. I know. I was like, man, $10, that's the right price to pay for a useless piece of plastic that could be something someday.
I have a collection of those useless games. All right,
Jacob bought one when we were at the Pinball Expo.
What, Concord?
No.
I bought
Mag. Mag?
Oh, yeah, Mag. Defiance is another one.
Yeah. My God.
Wasn't Mag the one that was supposed to be like 100 players at once or something?
It's 256 players at the same time.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
Which,
fired that up the other day. It was just me.
Just you in an open environment?
Jake lives in. Huh. What about you, Scott?
I won.
I mean, outside of Tetris? I mean, how do you... I don't want to.
This is your opinion. This is your opinion. Shut up. It's your opinion. You want to
sell 1 million copies, you put Mario on it. You want to sell 5 million copies, you put Tetris on it.
I mean, my answer was going to be Mario. I mean, like, just for the sheer number of games that feature Mario, that it appeals to old people, it appeals to young people. There's platformers, there's RPGs, there's educational games, there's sports games. I mean, there's just every genre of game has a Mario version of it somewhere. It's hard to argue that Mario is not the most successful.
I was actually going to say Pac-Man.
Yeah, that Pac-Man football game, man. Dude,
no, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When was the last time a brand new Pac-Man game came out?
We had Pac-Man, Pac-World, something that came out on Switch earlier this year.
Okay, but here's the thing. Like, you show a kid, they're like, Pac-Man. Like, it's instantly recognizable.
Well, again, we come back down to what's the definition of successful? Is it recognizability? Yeah. Is it sales? Is it popularity? Like it's kind of a gray area about how do you measure success?
Yeah, well, that's why I said it's an opinion-based thing. But for me, like, it goes to those points, like a Mario, a Pac-Man, like, because they're so instantly recognizable that, like, if something new came out, like, it's going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whereas like Pac-Man, like, before that, like, it had been a while before a brand new Pac-Man came out. Like, I freaking hate the movie, but Pixels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the fact that, like, on the cover of that is a giant Pac-Man. At one point in time, we had a restaurant, 257 in Chicago, that was Pac-Man. Like, that's where I put it, is like, how recognizable is it? If you were to make a game right now, shadow dropped a game, how well would it sell based upon the property?
Which is going to sell better, a Mario game or a Pac-Man game?
But I'm choosing something other than what you chose.
Right, that's what makes conversation interesting.
I understand that, but But like Pac-Man, like Donkey Kong's another one.
Sonic.
Like you have those tentpole franchises. I just wish they would do something new and fresh with them.
I mean, what are you going to do with Pac-Man that hasn't?
Give me a
already
VR
been
Pac-Man.
done?
That's another reason why a lot of these franchises are falling off or slowing down, because what do you do now once you've done everything?
I mean, what was the last? What was that Pac-Man game that was on Xbox 360 where it was like super fast?
Oh, like the Championship Edition one.
Yeah, like that. Like it was a really cool idea. They sped it up, and it was still Pac-Man, but it still had
But the board
core.
also didn't just go like it wasn't just a static board. That board moved too, and it grew.
Yeah, and it was rad. But like, what do you do beyond that to still keep the formula? They did that. They did the Pac-Man like Battle Royale. Was it Pac-Man 99 or something like that?
Yeah, that was different.
But that's there's only so much you can do with the franchise. Whereas this is why I'm sticking with Mario, because Mario has had every genre of game, and they keep doing something with it. And you put his name and his face on it, it's gonna. Do
I know it's gonna sell like gangbusters. It's just
Mario Party 20.
Let Mario rest for a while. Let's come up with something new.
Luigi Party. It's just him.
It's like every time they put Mario to bed for a bit, they're like, Luigi. Oh, Luigi's taking a break? Wario. But
I saw
still
a meme
kicking
today.
a Waluigi game.
I saw a meme today, again, it being election day. It was two people that were like yelling at each other, and one person had a bubble over their head that said Republican Party, and one had above their head the Democratic Party. And then they were just yelling and angry. And then the person off on his own had a big smile on his face, and he had an actual image of a brain, and it said Mario Party. But it had the actual like font from the game. It made me laugh. Election humor. Let's go on to the next question. Jake, I believe this one's yours.
For David Newman, as far as quality of games, how do you think 2024 stacks up against the past 5 to 10 years?
Turds.
I'm having an absolute blast. I can't keep up with the quality.
Didn't say I'm not having fun, but as far as quality,
what poor quality games have you played this year?
or lack thereof of like those tentpole franchises.
I mean, are we considering like triple A home run things the only thing that are
I will say flat out
quality?
I'm having a blast in the independent sector with games. They're doing stellar.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think anybody can disagree with that. I miss though having those big cool blockbuster titles, because the problem is they've let them get so overinflated budget wise that they're like, we need to make them bigger than ever.
Right.
But it
instead of giving us like 12, 15-hour experience games.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they've killed a part of it, because when I was a kid, this is in development. Okay, so you wait another 1 or 2 years, and then that game comes out, and it's like, oh yeah, that you rush for the game, you get it, you play it, blah blah whatever, you're done with it, and another 2 or 3 years, and then at some point they were dropping a game as often as they could, as soon as they could. And now they've slowed down, because I'm thinking a lot of these big ones are, like I said before, running out of ideas, and like they could not keep up with their own demand.
They've bled them dry, but they're still gonna try.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. As far as quality, a nosedive, man. I miss the 2 to 3 year cycle. You got a game, and I can tell, like, if the game sells well, in 2 to 3 years, I'm gonna have a sequel. But now we try to pump them out as fast as we can, and like, God bless Bethesda, man, for sticking to their guns. Like, they're like, screw it, we're gonna take forever, glitchy or not, like 6 to 7 year cycles on these games.
Glitchy or not. Well, what? There's been no news on The Elder Scrolls 6.
There's no.
We got that title card 3 years ago.
They dropped the title card and
no news.
Nothing.
No news on a new Fallout. No news on a new Skyrim. No news on a new Wolfenstein. They're like, you get Starfield and some Fallout 76 updates. Beyond that, We'll release the game when we feel like it.
Right.
It's the Blizzard mantra.
But that's the thing, though. When those games do come out, they're quality games. Like I said, glitchy or not, they're still a quality game. Whereas when they're what was it? The Call of Duty one was like we had Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, Call of Duty Ghosts, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Like, dude, those were turds.
Shut your mouth about Ghosts.
Shut up. That game was terrible.
Okay, we'll do Cold War more recently. Yeah, exactly.
But that's I want them to slow down.
Right.
Take some time, breathe, let these things marinate.
And now
actually play test and quality test your games instead of giving me a 200 gigabyte day one patch because your game sucks when you made it.
Right. Ugh. But
that's the thing is I don't understand the need to get stuff out so quickly. It's not like people are wanting for games to play. There's all the
because we've created the FOMO culture, whereas and even the CEOs and the big like all the big people driving this like industry, they're like, if we don't make something every 60 seconds, we're dying.
Right.
We're becoming not relevant. And I'm like, no, you're becoming not relevant because you're turning out trash.
Right. Like, could you imagine if they released an Elder Scrolls or a Fallout every other year?
Dude,
there'd be no content. There'd be no content.
I mean, we talk about all the time, like we all go ravenous for a Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
But we know it's going to be a while in between them.
Yeah, it needs to be. You need to build the story. You need to build the characters. You need to build the environment. All this stuff takes time.
But see, that's things like they take the time they put into it, whereas they could legitimately pump out a Resident Evil game every single year. Like I know Scott. If they said, hey, guess what? Next month we're finally dropping Gears of War 6, you'd be excited.
Yeah, because it's been
exactly like that's what I'm saying.
2019 was that 2019 when Gears 5 dropped?
Yeah, like
well, we kind of have Gears 6 coming. What's it called? The one where they're going back to when they were younger?
I don't know.
Gears 1.5.
No, remember it's like young Dom and young Marcus. That was the big announcement at the last Microsoft conference. Remember?
I don't remember what it is.
The name is escaping me, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, as far as quality over the last 5 to 10 years, I think it's taken a nosedive because we're so obsessed with cranking games out faster and faster, and that's what's killing these studios. Unfortunately, is the
Gears
pressure.
of War E-Day. That's what that was called.
Yeah, I was just looking it up.
But yeah,
I don't know, man.
I'm not disagreeing that you're having fun, but I'm saying the quality overall of games from like the 360 era to the early Xbox One, PS4 era, I feel the quality of the games has dropped.
I think that there's just so much out there that it's becoming harder to sift through and find out what actually clicks for us on an individual level. Because back in even the 360 era games, we weren't like, look at the new releases I read today. How many titles did I read? 20?
You read 20, but we were all like Tetris Forever.
Right. And, a game that's basically iterating on an old popular franchise.
Because nothing out there grabs your
franchise.
attention. Because rather than build these games, like, you look at the majority of the games on that list, and they're all low-budget indie titles. Good for them. I'm excited for them. I'm glad they're getting their stuff out. But the problem is there's no big tentpoles to get excited about because I feel that they've all lost the luster.
Yeah, but I think that in that list of 20 games that I read, even though not a whole lot of them like just grabbed our attention like some of those big AAA games from the 360 era did, if I would be willing to bet that there's one game for each of us in there that we all would play through and love if we did it. But when we look at a list of 20 games, instead of going, pretend Tetris is on the list.
Okay.
Right? We look
Second
at that
time we've
list
had to
and we
do
go,
that. Pretend Tetris isn't here.
right. But we look at that list and we just see 20 games. I don't even know where to start. I'm just going to go play something that's comfortable, or I'm going to go finish something from my backlog instead of grabbing something new. That's why so many of these games aren't tried or even given a shot, because there's just the market is so saturated.
Well, we're also
with
paying
games to play.
attention because for years Steam has just cranked out games,
Mm-hmm.
and with a lot of the
You're-
younger generation getting into like coding and making games, like they're there. So
Yeah,
I mean,
feel
like,
you're supporting my argument.
but the amount of games has always been there. It's just that we're like paying attention to PC now more.
Oh, yeah, there were a lot of PC games on that list. Yes,
Yeah.
but
But before, like,
Jacob is the bigger PC player out of us. You and I mostly played console this week.
But going
Not
back to
counting.
the 360 era, I remember opening up the shop and there was like a bunch of those little trash like independent games. Some of them I had fun playing with. They've always been there. The problem is we have to look at them more now because those big budget titles aren't there.
But I don't think that big budget title games necessarily equate to high quality.
I'm not disagreeing, but what I'm saying is the big budget titles of yesteryear, you used to be more excited for because they were of a higher quality caliber. What I'm saying is over the last 5 to 10 years, those big tentpole franchises have slowly become turds because they're cranking them out too fast and they're not.
And what I'm saying is that the lower budget independent games that are coming from independent studios have increased in quality and evened it out, making the last 5 to 10 years still feel like a quality set of years of
There's
games.
a quality set, but it's a different type of quality. Some of these
Sure.
independent games, it's like, cool, I played them for 2 hours, I enjoyed them. They're short. Yeah, like, how many independent games out there am I going to have 100-hour experience in, other than like an Octopath Traveler?
I mean, there's more examples like that, but
There
I probably
are.
put a good 40 hours into Dave the Diver. I have
Dave the
put-
Diver is not. I mean, it's a good game, but it doesn't appeal to anybody. Like, I'm saying that I'm missing.
It doesn't appeal to anybody.
It doesn't. I meant to say it doesn't appeal to everybody.
Well, no, not every game is going to appeal to everybody.
I know, but it used to be like some of those big titles that everybody could rally around. Like, I feel that I'm saying the quality of those has dropped. Yes, I feel the independent titles, even back in the day in the 360, they were good back then. The problem is they never got the love they deserve because we had those big titles that everybody rallied around. They got outshone because I've gone back to some of those from the 360 era, and I've had fun playing those because I never.
And
got to
I'm
play
saying
them.
that people have a difficulty rallying around one game anymore because there's just too many coming out at the same time.
because there's the independent people are getting a higher degree of like light now because there aren't those big tentpole franchises.
Yeah, I
But
think we're agreeing more than you think we are.
No, I know we're agreeing, but what I'm saying is overall, I feel the quality of like the bigger titles has become turds. That's what I'm saying. And the independents have risen, but the problem is they've always been good. We just weren't paying attention.
I think turd is a strong word. I've played a lot of really good. If you're just straight up comparing,
I
yes,
didn't say the
quality
independents
is
were
lower.
turds. I said some of the
I'm
big.
talking about the big games. I've played a lot of quality AAA games this year.
We have, but we've
Maybe
also
not
seen
as many,
but we've
huh?
also seen a lot that flopped hard.
right? That doesn't mean they weren't good. It means that the market is oversaturated and not everybody's paying for them.
Concord did not flop because it was oversaturated. Concord
was
flopped
a
because it was a
turd.
turd.
I
But,
didn't play it, but it's
so,
also not my
I don't
style
think
of
anybody
game.
played it.
Yeah.
Some people
100
did. There were people trying to get all the
100,000.
achievements before they dropped it. Remember that?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is overall, I felt the quality has gone down.
I'm actually gonna have to agree with CB on this one, because while you know in the last 10 years there have been things come out that programs and stuff to help independent developers make a better game, those games are still, you know, there's a lot of them, but just because there's quantity doesn't mean that there's quality. And so when you have a game that takes 10, 8 years, 3 years, however long to come out, that's a AAA title, and it flops on the first week, the quality of games are coming down. There's not a game that's coming out that's everyone's flocking to, that's going, I cannot wait for this game to come out. I cannot wait until November. I cannot wait until the sale. I cannot wait until whatever, that these people are jumping on like they used to. It used to be this swarm of people who would attack a single game, and that would be all like, even with other games releasing, there used to be at least one game that would outshine everything at some point, at some sale, and we don't have that anymore. Now you just kind of dump the new game into the pile of other new games and hope it goes. But with the AAA titles, they just have marketing.
And I feel you actually helped drive my point home even further. Like I tried to say, but I couldn't figure out a way to say it. You have more people entering the game development market because it's easier to do now than it was 10 years ago. So yes, there is just a multitude of games. Like there's more and more and more games now than there was. So overall, we have more games, but the quality is still the same. So, granted, like 1,000 games get made 10 years ago, and you have like 50% of them are good, 50% of them are bad. Problem now is we have 10,000 games being made now, and only 25% of them are good, but we have more overall good games.
No.
It's just a numbers game.
I feel like we're going in circles at this point. Let's go on to the last question.
Well, continuation of David Newman. Also, I just bought a Steam Deck. What games would you guys recommend? It works well on it.
I don't know. I don't own a Steam Deck.
I mean, the easy recommendation for me, Jacob can back me up on this, Mini Shoot Adventures on Steam Deck is
that game was a lot of fun.
That game,
I'd have played on
shockingly
Steam Deck,
easy. Well, yeah, but I played on Steam Deck and it works beautifully there.
Scott's gonna say Balatro.
Actually, someone mentioned that on Discord when he said this. Someone said like Balatro, recommendation incoming. I said, no, actually, that's not where I recommend you play it. I recommend you play it on the phone. That UI is perfect on the phone. I mentioned already, but Knock on the Coffin Lid. If you like Slay the Spire, that game, I said this in my written review. I actually would rather play that game with the mouse than on a Steam Deck, but it still works functionally well on a Steam Deck. You can use the touchscreen to drag things, or use the touchpad drag and then click the mouse with the right trigger, which is a little awkward at first, but you get used to it. But that one's great. Control is on Steam Deck, but it's not exclusive to Steam Deck, so I would imagine he's looking for...
No, you just said, what's Steam Deck? What games would you recommend that works well on it? Didn't say he
Not
wants
Commander
exclusive.
Keen. I bought Commander Keen because I wanted to play that on Steam Deck, and that did not work well. I could not get that. I can't get the game to run.
Control is always a good choice. Alien Isolation is always a good choice. Doom.
I wonder
is
if they
always
can
a
get
good
Doom
choice.
to run on it.
You can play those on console though. That's the.
But here's the thing:
rub,
he has
right?
a Steam Deck. He's looking for things to play on his Steam Deck that he can take with him on the go.
You can also, David, if you've got Game Pass, if you got Xbox Game Pass, if you got Ultimate that includes the PC stuff, you can actually get your Game Pass games running on Steam Deck. I think you have to get Windows on your Steam Deck or something like that, which apparently is really easy to do. I have not done it, but I've been told it's quite simple to do. There's easy instructions, so lots of opportunities there if you already have Game Pass subscription too. I was going to try to pull up my Steam library, but that is not working. I mean, it's hard because I keep playing games that I can play other places, like Vampire Survivors and Balatro, and there's just other places to play it. But What have I played on my Steam? Oh, what's that? That pool game? Rack and Slay.
Rack and Slay.
Rack and Slay. It plays great on the Steam Deck. Boy, the name is escaping me right now, but there is a roguelike twin stick shooter that I reviewed for the site a while ago. I think I actually gave him this recommendation through text already, so
Binding of Isaac.
It's probably good there. Huh?
Binding of Isaac.
Yeah, Binding of Isaac.
It's good
is
on
another
everything.
one, yes. Galactic Glitch is the name I was thinking of. That works on. Yeah. Yeah, if you haven't played Binding of I feel like Binding of Isaac is a great mobile game, like a great game on the go. Don't let the poop emoji thing scare you off from that game. Like Zach just despises it because of the poop for some reason.
The game is so
That
good.
is a shockingly dense game.
There's a
really
lot
good.
to unpack with it.
There's a lot to it. There's a lot of disturbing stuff
Imagery.
in that game too. Yeah. All right. Next week's topic. I promised it this week, but I got the date wrong. We are having a special guest, a developer of a mobile game. So we're going to have our topic next week centered something on mobile games. I think we've done microtransactions in the past. Maybe we'll just go back to the well and talk about mobile games in general. Looking forward to having him on the show for sure. But that's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thanks so much for listening. This one, as usual, is produced by Kevin Honigford. And all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Jacob, you got any parting words or recommendations for our listeners before we get out of here?
The creator of One Bit Adventure, the guy that you're going to be interviewing next week, is also coming out with a new mobile game.
Oh, I did not know that. I'm sure.
I can not remember the name of it for the life of me because I found out at R2V2, but yeah, be on the lookout for that. It's going to be on the same lines, I guess.
Cool. I guess we'll learn more about that next week, so that's awesome. CB, how about you? Anything you want to recommend?
Well, first off, quick update. I am now on book 5 of my Warhammer journey.
God.
Dude, it is fascinating.
All right.
I caught the bug.
Book 5 of 21.
Like 5 of 400.
Well, I meant of the pathway or whatever, like
Yeah.
the guidelines.
Well, for this section and storyline, yeah, dude. If anybody's looking to get into like a really good book series, like it is shockingly good.
All right.
So I am absolutely adoring it. But other than that, yeah, man, other than watching movies with you, for sleepaway camp, I haven't. I finished Agatha All Along.
Oh, was that any good?
It's okay.
Yeah. That character always felt like something that would be good as a side character or like a.
Yeah, just it. Overall, I would give it a 6 out of 10 for the series, but the commercial for it this week, like, because they've been showing like commercials, I'm more excited by some of the stuff coming next year because they showed the commercial for Daredevil Born Again.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I finished Jason Schreier's book on Blizzard.
Yeah.
That's a really good read, man. That's a really good read. I was kind of surprised because I just kind of expected him to go into that just crapping all over Blizzard. He does a really good job of laying out the facts without
Poo-pooing
just
on them?
crapping out. Yeah, like he's being.
Does it go back
it's
to the
almost
early
like
days of Blizzard?
Oh, it starts there. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
It starts about the history, the original creators, and then it goes up until this year. Like it talks about, which is weird, listening to an audiobook about stuff that happened this year. But it's not what I was expecting because you hear all the negativity surrounding Blizzard in the past few years. You expect it to be nothing but that, and there is negative stuff in there, but it's told in a journalistic way, not in a like he's left
Not the
personal
typical
feelings
Jason
out of
Schreier.
it.
I'm gonna crap on this way.
No, like his other 2 books were pretty straightforward too. I just was kind of expecting a lot of vitriol or a lot of mudslinging, and it really wasn't. It was kind of pleasant to listen to. It was like just the facts. You know what I mean?
Think he
Really,
leaves the
really
mudslinging
fascinating
for
reading.
his Twitter.
I really feel like I learned a lot. So
I'll check it out.
highly recommend it. Also, I'm doing my rewatch of Lost. I decided to go back and try that series again
I was
to
just
see.
thinking about that the other day, like about giving that show another run.
I finished the first season today. I'm on season 2. When they start focusing on that second group of survivors, it's a little dry. I just wanted to go back to the characters I know a lot. I'm waiting for them to get. Yeah, just like with Ana Lucia and those characters, I'm just kind of bored. I want to go back. Like they just got that whole fascinating, where they get the Swan Station and you're learning about the numbers and stuff, and then they go and they like introduce a whole new set of characters. I'm just like, go back to what's cool.
The Dharma Initiative.
Oh, I loved the first season of that show. That first season is still just so good. And then I watched it religiously after that, and I was in the camp of people that was disappointed by the ending, and I've been told by Lost apologists that I'm wrong, and so I want to go through with my fresh eyes and see how I feel about it now.
Your special eyes.
My brand. Okay.
Look with your special eyes.
Well, Jacob and CB, thanks so much for being here. It's been a lot of fun, and thank you to everybody out there listening. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Chris Behrensmeyer and Jacob Gunderson, and we are The Gaming Outsider. Remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.